How many guests get like wigged out at all this fucking shit?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. I think people are pretty nervous.
Dude, I'm in front of the camera a lot, even for my job. And I'm like, there's a lot of fucking shit happening. I got lights over there. I got cameras over there. I only got one key light in my setup. You got fucking 1, 2,
Key,
3, 4,
fill, and
5.
accent. Yeah. 6 lights in total.
Yeah. Oh no, I got backlights too, actually.
The backlights are, dude, if you're going to have
Have you
2
seen-
lights, have a key in the back.
I'll show you my
Yeah, I'd
little,
love to see it.
my little office setup there.
I'd love to see
You'll
it.
probably laugh at it. You'll be like, what the fuck is this? You'll be like, yeah, it's good, man. Yeah, I can't even fucking see your face. The composition is off. The lighting is shit. Have you actually zoomed in on anything?
All right, dude. Well, welcome.
Dude, thank you. Yeah, I think this is like our 3rd podcast together. So am I like the longest running?
Bryce has your beat.
Oh, is he? How many does he have?
I think 4.
Damn it.
I know.
I'll come back. I'll come back another 6 months. We'll get 4 in.
One of the ones you had was a Patreon exclusive episode with Bryce.
Yeah. It wasn't with Bryce? Oh, it was with Bryce. Yep, that's right. Yeah. Okay, yep.
Yeah, I thought you both had just like such different personalities. It was great.
Yeah, Bryce is very like, he's like, yes, we're step 1, step 2, step 3. And I'm like, I don't know, you just go out there and kind of wing some things and make some
You better make
poses.
sure the vibes are good or I'm not climbing with you.
Yeah, you got to check the energy, make sure it's all good. He's like, we're going to do step 1, step 2, step 3, and then we're going to step 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's great. Well, yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate being back.
Of course, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just to get things started here, I think when we were first like linked up, we talked about the word shenanigans.
Okay, did we?
Yeah, and just like I think that at least from my experience, like interacting with you, like a lot of the times the stories you tell, the experiences you have in the mountains, like there's sometimes this fulcrum point of like shenanigans, and it's almost like pitched in this sense of like a positive memory. Like it was a source of pride, a source of like energy, like storytelling.
Yeah.
I think you were telling a story with Kaylee of like it was just total shenanigans, bro. It was total shenanigans. And then at the end of the story, you're like, it was like the best day of climbing I ever had. So like talk to me about shenanigans and what they mean to you.
Yeah.
And like their role in climbing for you.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good question. I'll have to let me think about that one. But I think like a lot of times with climbing, you can kind of like, envision the day and you have everything there and everything goes according to plan. And those are great days too, because you just like crush everything. You're like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. But I think like what makes the best memories is when you like things go wrong and you have to like figure things out and you're like having fun and laughing about it and like you're able to adapt to that situation. Because those are the stories. There's actually like one time we climbed this climb called Sorcerer. And I went up the second last pitch and it was just like a shower. Like it was like wet and soaked. And then I got to the belay and I'm just like shivering. Like I'm like drenched, like fully drenched. And they came up and they were like, oh man, like should we bail? Like we're all just like soaking wet. And it's only like -5. Like it's like pretty warm out at the time. But there's one last pitch. And Kaylee had never done Sorcerer and I was with Arthur as well. He had never done Sorcerer. And the final pitch is like the money pitch. It's like, this steep WI 5+ or 5. And, it's like 60 meters, like a really good pitch. And so I'm there and they're like, I don't know, like, should we bail? Should we not? And I'm like, puffies on. It's just like drenched with like slushy snow. There's like a shower over me. And I was like, guys, we could bail, but like, let's just, if we push through, this is going to be such a cool memory. And we're going to like forget all of the like the shit, like we're gonna forget the hypothermia. We're gonna like remember like the fun parts of this and that we like pushed through it. Even yesterday, we could talk about yesterday's climb after this. But yeah, they were like, okay, let's do it. So I like, and there's a video I could find, but I just like quested off. And there's like one video, I have like my hood up and it's just, you can hear it's like the rain is just like coming down on my face and like and I'm like hammering my picks into just slush. It's just like you can hear it's like slopping when it goes in. And they're just like, the video is just like, oh my God, what is that? And then I pulled over onto like the main face and then all of a sudden like it wasn't wet there, but it was like dry, but then it was like windy and I got like hypothermia as I'm like going up. I got the barfies in like both hands and I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know if I could make it to the top. And so like in the moment, obviously you're like, wow, this is like a terrible climb. But then once you're like finished it, you're like, I'm glad we pushed through. That was amazing. And that's like a funny memory now that you have. So I think like, Yeah, you can have like great memories when you have those moments where you push through like a difficult situation and then you look back and it's like, yeah, that was a bit of shenanigans, but it was great. Like even yesterday, man, that was like shenanigans, but we pushed through and it was awesome.
For sure. I think there's like two kind of shenanigans. There's ones that you can't prepare for. That's like nature, like the wind,
Yeah.
like that situation where it's like water. And then there's the shenanigans where like you kind of put yourself in that situation.
Okay.
And so I want to, maybe we can like bifurcate those two things and like tell some stories of each one.
Okay.
So like, let's do nature first, or just like uncontrollable shenanigans.
Okay.
So like yesterday was a great example.
Yeah.
Like we were up on Cloud Tower, you know, we had like a little bit of a windy forecast, but it didn't look like it was going to be crazy. It's coming from the southwest, which is like on the other side of Rainbow Wall. So I was like, dude, we're good.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine. And we're going to be protected. It's going to be sick. And like, yeah, we like roll into Juniper Canyon and there's no one there. We're like, what the fuck? Why is no one here, dude? It's Saturday. And yeah, we get on Cloud Tower and right after the first pitch, I'm like standing on the top of that ledge and just like fucking hurricane wind. Just like, you're like, are you good up there? I'm cold, man. And yeah, that whole pitch 2 and like into pitch 3 was just a fucking suffer fest, bro.
Dude, the best was like, so yeah, you did P1 and then I did P2, and then P2 I think was like P1 and P2, the blaze for it were like not protected and they were getting hammered by the wind. And so P3 is like the 12A crux pitch, and poor Kyle is like, he's up there like fighting for his life, like putting in finicky gear on this like 0.1 little finger crack. And I'm down at the bottom, just like getting hammered by the wind. All my hoods are up, and all I brought was like a light little like wind jacket, so I was not prepared for this. And then Kyle's up there just like fighting for his life, and I'm like shivering down below, but I'm just like, oh god, like hitting myself, like, you got this, Philip. Oh god. And Kyle's like, would you shut the fuck up down there?
It was funny. Like the higher I got up into the crux pitch, like the noises were getting more like
from me,
more animalistic and more guttural. And I was like, dude, what the fuck is going on down there? It, like, I was fine with it at first, and then it was definitely getting distracting at a certain point. I was just like, what in the fuck is going on down there? You're killing me, dude.
Dude, it was taking everything that I had. That was cold, man.
It was cold.
I find that like with rock climbing, I can get colder rock climbing than I can ice climbing.
Is it because you are already like prepared for the cold?
Exactly. Like when you go ice climbing, you're like ready for it. You're prepared. You're like, okay, it's like you check the weather.
You
it's
have
like
gloves. You've got layers.
you have gloves. It's like, hey, it's -10. Like I know the climb. Actually, that's a lie. I've definitely gotten colder on ice climbs, but I think I've been better at preparing for them since I got like frostbite the first time.
You've been less surprised with the cold.
Now that like, because you have to prepare for it. You can't just like wing an ice climb. Like, I don't know, just pack like a sun shirt, I guess. Like, you know, you have to like, okay, where am I going? What aspect is it?
It's like choosing your trad rack.
Exactly. You really need to do a lot of research into like what the weather is on an ice climbing day versus rock climbing is just like, oh, I don't know, it's like sunny and beautiful. Let's just let's just throw a sun shirt in there and a little windbreaker and we're good to go. And then you're like, fuck, it's fucking cold.
Yeah.
So I feel like you can get messed up on rock climbs because you're in the shade and then it gets windy and it's cold and you have like nothing on you. So you're just like so ill prepared for it.
And if you're like climbing harder routes where like you might be at the belay longer.
Yep, you're not like moving very quickly. That's another thing with ice as well, is like depending on the route, you can move super fast and you can stay warm as well. Like you're doing like a lot of hiking, you're doing a lot of like maybe low angle stuff where you're just like constantly moving. Unless you're doing like super hard, like short, ice, you can stay relatively warm as you're moving.
For sure. Right? Yeah. What give me another story of where like
kind of shenanigans.
Uncontrolled shenanigans.
For the weather?
It could be anything. I think things that are out of your control, things you like, you didn't do it to yourself.
I didn't do it to myself. Okay, hang on. Let me. I mean, this is just like, I don't know if this is shenanigans. The only story that came to mind, and I can think on this. We'll get some better stories. I'll think of this. And this maybe I told this on another podcast. Maybe I didn't. But this is like going into partners. There was one time where I went on a climb and we like agreed to go do this climb with this one guy. And I think it was maybe my second time climbing with him. And then like we're walking up the approach and like the energy was like, I think I told you that. Maybe I said it on another podcast, but the energy was like so bad as we're walking up.
Between the partnership?
The two of us were like, we're doing this hike up. We're doing this approach to get to the base of this climb. And then like, I think it was maybe after like an hour and a half of just like listening to him, like so negative and the energy was bad. I literally was like, hey man, I'm not fucking climbing with you at all. Like, I'm done. And I just walked off and I walked down. I don't know if that's shenanigans, but that's definitely...
That's an interesting situation, though. So you, like, were an hour and a half in,
An hour and a half into the
and it was
approach.
that bad where you're like, we're not even climbing today.
Yeah, I think I told another story where I climbed with this. I was gonna climb with this girl in Squamish. I think I did tell this story before, but I'll say it again. Where we were gonna do this one climb, and we had talked on Instagram a whole bunch, and like she seemed, like a nice girl, whatever. And I'm like super friendly on like Instagram, but someone messaged me like, "Hey, we should get on a climb." I'm like, yeah, just like for sure. I'm just kind of like nonchalantly, and then she's like, "Oh, I'll drive down," and I was like, "Oh, sweet." So then she drove down from Washington, got there, and then the energy was I like immediately as soon as I met her in person, I could like tell it was just like she was really negative, like a dark energy, kind of like just a negative kind of dark energy. And like I knew right away, I was like, oh my God, Philip, what have I got myself into? You ever get yourself in those situations where you like agree to a partner and then like, oh my God.
I have not.
No?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, count yourself lucky.
If I have ever climbed with someone brand new, I usually pick an objective where it's like super low key.
See, that's
Like
that's what I should
I think like a
do.
couple times I've done brand new partners. It's like I'm just popping around doing trad climbs in J tree. So it's like cragging, your minimal approach. Like if I needed to run away, I could really quick.
Yeah, that's the smarter way to do it, but nobody ever said that I was smart. So I'm an idiot, dude. I do dumb things all the time.
I mean, it's like it's
And I don't learn from my mistakes, apparently.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm getting better. But the next day we like started this hike, and we were gonna do this one, like I can't remember what the area is called, but it's like past the gondola, and you can take the gondola up, which like cuts some time out, but it's like $60 or $80 for the gondola. So I was like, let's just walk up and let's do it. So we walked up. I think we were like probably 3.5 hours into this like mega approach, and we're like right now at the base of like, okay, we can see the mountain. We just got to like walk another maybe like 45 minutes and we're there. And that was another one where I literally just saw it and I was like, I cannot even fathom like hanging out with this girl for a minute longer. And I was like, I do not want to be tied into a rope with her. I don't want her to belay me. I don't want to spend any more time with her. And I literally, like, she walked around the corner. I was like, we're not climbing today. No, like, we're not.
Damn. How did she take it?
Yeah. It was so awkward. It was so awkward. She always like asked why. She's like, what's going on? Why? And I was like, well, like, I don't know how to put this, but like, it's kind of like awkward and like, or not awkward, but like, you just have like a really like negative energy. And like, I just don't want to be around you. Yeah. I don't want to tie in with a rope with you. Right. Like, sorry. And then we like walked down and she was like, we're kind of like talking, like, that kind of like weird, awkward, like you have to make a conversation as you're going down. We're like trying to do that. And then we get to the gondola, and I was so adamant on the way up. I was like, we're not paying for the gondola. We're fucking alpinists, and we're going to walk up, and I'm not paying for that shit. We're going to like hike up. And then on the way down, I was like, fuck that. We're paying for the gondola to get down. And I'm like, I'll pay for yours. I don't even care. So I like paid for her gondola, and it's cheaper on the way down, but I was like, I don't even care. I need to get down as fast as possible. And then we got down, got back to like the campground, got into, and then we got there, and like some guy that we had like talked to the night before, he's like, hey, how did things go? You guys are back early. And she's like, I don't know, talk to him. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, just wasn't feeling the energy. And I like grabbed all my shit. I grabbed my rope. I just like opened my I had a Jeep at the time. I like opened the Jeep, threw everything in, got in the Jeep. I was closed all the blinds. And then I've never spoken to her again.
Wow, that's crazy. I would imagine it's a skill set to be able to make that definitive decision of, I mean, you're invested just as much as she is, and like your climbing goals are like at stake. Like, was it that bad, or like have you, like, you've done this enough where you just know, and you've done it before, so like you're like,
yeah,
I just gonna say no to you?
I think I have a really good job at like setting boundaries and being like transparent with how I'm feeling, and like and confrontation as well. I worked a lot on confrontation, like especially over in my 20s into my 30s. I used to be like very non-confrontational and just like go with the flow, even if it's a shitty situation. Like, don't rock the boat, just like do whatever, like whatever, just do it. Don't rock the boat, don't anger people, don't like do that. And then obviously in that process, like two things happen. Number one is you like degrade yourself, because the more that you don't say what you want to say, and the more that you like have something that's like in you, whether in your heart or whatever, and you want to say it and you don't say it, then you like lose trust and confidence in yourself. right? And then the second thing is you're just in a shitty situation. So the more that you like continue to do that, the more like timid you get, the more you don't trust yourself, the more you don't have respect for yourself, and the less better of a person, I guess you could say, like the less better of a person you become. So I worked a lot on that in my 20s, and now like in my 30s, I feel like I've just like brought that into all areas of my life, and I just try and, even if it was like maybe not the worst situation, like yeah, I probably could have like pushed through and like had a good day and been like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. I think for me, that's just like one of my non-negotiables in life now, is like if I'm in a bad situation, or if there's something that I want to say, or if there's some type of confrontation that I need to do, I don't just let it like fester and be like, oh no, it's fine, I'll just like get through the situation, then I don't have to say anything. Because then not only do I have to be in that situation, which like sure I could push through that situation, but then for me the biggest thing is like I lose trust in myself, right? Like I lose the respect for myself, and it's like, because you always have that like replay in your mind after, you're like, man, I should have said that thing. You know what I mean? Like I was at that party and that guy said something disrespectful to me and I didn't say anything, right? And then you like lose that respect for yourself, and you just like go with this situation, and like little by little that'll chip away at your confidence, you know, and your ego, and not necessarily ego, but your confidence and your self-respect. So now it's just like a non-negotiable, not only in climbing, but in all areas of my life. So even though I probably could have pushed through, it's just like, for me, it's like, no, I have to say something, because it means more than just a climbing day. It means like retaining my self-respect.
Totally. No, I love that. And it brings to like makes me think about, we have like these internal dialogues, and I feel like there's like the heart dialogue and the mind dialogue. And like, I think the way I've heard it being talked about is like, this is I and this is you. And so when you talk to yourself, like there's like, you just said, like you lose respect for yourself, like not myself. I lose respect for myself. You know, it's like a weird way to use words that way. But yeah, I think that like listening to that internal dialogue and being able to actually like cognitively take action and I think well put, like respect yourself in that way.
Yeah.
Means so much. Cause yeah, I mean, I've had multiple situations. I'd say a lot of it is more around, I guess it is like people to people relationships, disrespect, like holding and setting boundaries. Like if you ignore it, it doesn't go away. Like that just sits there for a while. Yeah. And then, you know, at a certain point, like at least for me, I've had bad habits of like pushing it down, and then just like exploding. And then it just bubbles like, up and fucking volcano, you know,
explode.
Yeah. And then it makes the whole situation even worse. And it's like, if you just fucking spoke your mind in the first place and just like clearly communicated and set that boundary, then it wouldn't be so bad.
Which is so much harder said than done. Like, it's so easy to just like, you know, be on this podcast and be like, oh yeah, I just like stand up for myself all the time. But like, no, man, it's like, it is like you need to actively, and like, at least for me, and maybe some people are better at it than, you know, than others. But at least for me, like especially in my childhood, I spent my whole childhood just kind of like taking abuse and not standing up for myself. And I think that's why it's so pivotal for me in like my 20s and 30s. And it's still difficult. Like you need to actively choose it every time. And I think we spoke about this, just talking about like thinking, right? It takes me a long time to like mentally think about everything and like think through how do I feel? How are my emotions? What am I thinking? And then go into that situation. So, so it's like, it's difficult, man. It's like, it's super difficult. You have to actively choose and think about doing it. And it's so much easier to just be like, no, it's fine. Like, I won't say anything. It's like, it's not a big deal. But you need to like actively do it each and every single time. It's not an easy process.
Yeah. It's funny, actually, your story about the super long approach to get to the base. Honestly, that might actually be the beta, because you're speed dating that person.
Yeah.
In like an hour and a half. You're like, all right, we're going to vibe check for an hour and a half. You're like, get to the base. Nah, don't pass, fail.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, but that would be, if you could just do that like on every approach and then just be like, no, never mind. I'm just gonna,
you have like these list of questions in your mind. You're like, all right, we're gonna go through this. We're gonna check this. We're gonna check this. And we're like,
that would be pretty gnarly if you could just do that. If you literally just like cut it off after an hour and be like, yeah, I know we agreed for this huge day and it was supposed to be awesome, but never mind. I'm just like not.
You answered question 5 a little wrong, and I don't really like your perspective on that. So I think we need to turn around.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna leave now. Dude, I'm trying to think of some other shenanigans though that we've gotten off track about shenanigans. But that's okay. Some shenanigans that I've been in. I mean, I've had lots of shenanigans on Yam. Like Yamnuska was an awesome experience.
Yeah, let's dive into
lots of. Dude, I'd love to talk about Yam.
Yeah, so I mean, I have like, it's literally his Yam experience and his ice climbing season. So like, I do want to talk about those things. I guess let's wrap up shenanigans before we jump into that. So I think the other example of shenanigans is like where we kind of get ourselves into it. for whatever reason. I think the one thing that made me think this was your story of Polar Circus.
Yeah. Oh, just like recently?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like you
dude.
had the gear, you had everything you needed to make it like a non-shenanigan ascent, but you like chose to put yourself in that
Yeah.
situation in a way. So like,
And I could talk about
yeah,
that.
yeah. So tell the story, but I guess like what I'm trying to dig at here is like, maybe this is like a personal question for you or just climbing in general, but like, do you see sometimes you like subconsciously do things like that, take less gear or make certain decisions to like up the ante almost, or like
No, I think I'm just an idiot. I
to
think
you
I'm
know,
just an
like
idiot.
attracting shenanigans in a way?
Yeah, because basically, yeah, I went up the pencil, which is like the WI6, and then I just like I only brought 8 screws. I was there with Kaylee. We had one half rope that we had, and then I just doubled it up, so it was only 35 meters. And I was like, oh yeah, it's probably fine. It's not 35 meters. It was like 40 meters. And then like I go up this steep part, and then I had to put a few screws in for the traverse. I dropped 1 screw, so I'm down to like 7. It ended up being 40 meters. And then like I think I was like maybe 10 meters from the top out, or maybe like 5 or 10. And Kayla's like, that's me. And like the beginning of the climb was like this like overhanging like mushrooms and petals, and it's like showering down. And I was like, okay, well, I have like 1 screw left. And I thought there was like a bolted anchor above. Like thought that, well, there was chains. I'd used them to wrap before. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go a couple more meters and I'll put my last screw in. And then it's just around the corner. And like poor Kaylee, she has like the rest of the screws, she has the jaws, she has the backpack with the other rope, because we brought 2 half ropes, but we were just like simuling up to that point. And so we had this like 1 half rope that we doubled in half for 35 meters. And so she's got like a heavy pack. She's like at the beginning. I have like 1 screw in, and then or like 1 screw in like where I am, right? That's like the last screw. And then I start climbing. I'm like, okay, I just have to pull over and it's good, like 5 meters. And she's like still climbing through like the WI6 like crush section.
Yeah, you guys are simuling this at this point.
Yeah, we're simuling at this point. I have no screws left, right? Which is, I usually never put myself in those situations. I usually like always keep. Actually, no, I have a funny story. I'll tell you this after too. This is another shenanigans story that I'll tell you. Anyways, so then I like pulled over onto the face, and there's no bolts. And I'm like, what the fuck? Where are the fucking bolts? I'm like looking around. I'm like, oh my God, I have no screws. There's no bolts. I have nothing to make an anchor. And then I look on the rock, and the bolts had been just like chopped. So like an Abby had come down.
Wait, an Avi pulled the bolts out?
Well, I think they like just mangled them. They just like an Abby came down, and like a rock like hit the bolts.
Oh wow! I thought when you said chopped, I thought like someone came up.
Well,
and
someone
chopped him.
did chop them like after that happened, but they were mangled. It was like bent. One was like hanging down, so they were just like not safe to use anymore. Luckily, another like 5 meters up, there's a V thread, and I was like, okay, I just need to make it to that V thread, and then at least like I can clip the V thread, and then I'll back it up with the tool. But now like Kaylee's still in like the WI6 like section. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, just keep going. We're almost there. And I'm like pulling the rope up. And now I'm like probably like 5 or 10 meters below my last piece. And she's like sideling through I'm just like, oh my God,
man.
I'm such an idiot. Like I am such an idiot, dude.
What was the reasoning for leaving the screws behiund?
Because I'm an idiot, bro. Like,
there was no cognitive decision.
It was
of like,
just like,
I don't
know.
need 'em?
Just in my head. Let me think. Yeah, that's a good question. Because she's like, oh, do you want like any screws? And I just like looked at it, and like I thought the bolts were there. That's I guess like in my head, because I was like, oh, 8 screws for like 35 meters is fine. Like that's more than enough for me, right? So I guess like that part would have been fine, and I would have had enough. I had to. Well, I dropped 1 screw, so I'm down 1 screw, right? And then I did use 1 extra screw for the traverse because I wanted to protect it for Kaylee. So actually, my math was kind of dead on if you think about it, right? Because I would have had 2 screws left over if I wouldn't have messed. I had no room for error. I had the perfect amount in my. Oh, this is funny actually, because yesterday I dropped like 4 fucking cams, and I also dropped screws. So maybe it is me.
I don't know. The odds are stacking up against you, or the evidence is stacking up against you.
But anyway, so I went to the V thread, sunk my tools in, backed the V thread up with the tools, and I brought Kaylee up, and I was like, I am so sorry. I'll never do that again. I am such an idiot. Like, thank you for doing that. I think I just get like, I know I just get like too excited or something like that. I just get like super. I'm like, oh yeah, let's get after it. The other story that I just thought about, me and my buddy went into the Ghost, and this was on Christmas Day, and we wanted to go into this one canyon, do like a whole bunch of just like single pitch, like ice climbs. There's one mixed climb, right? And on the way there, we saw another truck coming out, and we're like, what happened? They're like, oh, dude, we went all the way to Fang the Fist. We like went to go, and then I realized my screws, I left them on my bed, the whole rack of
Oh.
screws. And so like we're done, right? Like we're done for the day. That's it. And I think I brought like 8 screws or something like that because they're all just like short, right? And I was like, well, just take mine. Like I don't even need them. It's fine. I just have these. And they're like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, it's fine. I'll just like, okay, I'll take one screw. I'll take one screw. It's fine, right? And then so I took one screw and same like shenanigans. So then we went into this like canyon. So they went to a different area. I just got their number and I was like, yeah, just like meet up with you like another day and grab everything from you. And then they didn't even end up climbing. Actually, they like tried to do one. I guess they told me after they like tried to do the one pitch, but they didn't get that far. And then they bailed. So, but whatever. It was good intentions. But anyway, so I get to this mixed climb, which is like whatever M7 WI5 or whatever. And so I like get in, do the mix section, go to the ice, and then the plan was I would like because there was a long run out between the last bolt and the ice. So the plan was I was gonna like put a screw kind of high up, like behind the dagger, so it was good. Clip that, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna pull onto the ice, and then I'm gonna grab this screw so I have it, with me. And then of course I like pull on to the dagger, and I'm like kind of in it now, and I'm like pulling over, and then next thing I know, I like look below, and I'm like, oh god damn it. The screw's like way below me. And I'm like, oh, that's so far. I'm like, it's probably fine. I'll just like solo it to the top. It's fine. And then I like start getting into it. Like no one had really climbed it this year because it usually forms as a pure ice route. And then it didn't form as a pure ice route this year. It didn't go to the bottom. So it was only the mix section. I guess not that many people had done the mix section. So it was like fresh ice and it was like, steep. And I'm like, I get to like the halfway point and then I like keep going. And I'm like, oh my God, Philip, again, like, why do you put yourself in these situations? Like I have no screws. I have no way of bailing. And now I'm at the point where like, if I fell, I would just hit the ground because I'm like high enough up. So now I'm just like, oh, God damn it, Philip, you're such an idiot. But like obviously, story's kind of spoiled. Obviously I got to the top and made it. But yeah, I don't know why I put myself in those situations. I think I'm just like, I don't know why. I think maybe I do enjoy, maybe there's like a part of me that like enjoys the challenge of like, having some shenanigans and yeah, maybe there's something there. I don't know. I'll talk to my therapist.
Have you heard of the term survivorship bias?
No. Well, yeah, but no, I don't know what it means though.
So it's kind of what we talked about already. Like I went through an accident. I have like real life evidence of what the fuck happens when you misjudge a situation.
Yeah.
It seems like you don't.
Okay.
Right? Because like you haven't had like an injury that's really nasty.
Oh,
You haven't had like you
yes.
haven't had like real life physical
Yes.
pain consequence for potentially giving yourself new room for error. Right. And so like the reason why I came across this term was because I interviewed like an elder climber in his 70s, and he like just doesn't wear helmets.
Oh, what the?
At all. Like he just,
Okay.
and I on the podcast I called him out. I didn't call him out. I just was like,
You're like, well, that's kind of dumb.
I didn't say that. I just said justify that for me.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's a very tactful way to put that.
And his immediate response was, well, I can see better. And so like my perspective is just like he just hasn't worn it. He doesn't like the way fits on his head because he's been climbing with that one for fucking 50 years. And he has survivorship bias because he hasn't had anything happen where that proved that he would need one. But the crazy thing about helmets is that that's when we're talking about lessons that you can't survive from. That's one that you don't survive from. The lesson that you needed a helmet is one you probably won't survive from. And so I'm trying to like link this back to this whole point of survivorship bias. Like, how do you feel about that term in reference to your own life? And like,
Yeah, that's a really good question. I yeah, I mean, even like yesterday, you see that I'm like very comfortable, like falling, whipping on gear, um, running things out. I think I have like a pretty high risk tolerance in that regard. And I think it is because, like, yeah, nothing bad has ever happened to me. Like, I've just had like a series of like reinforcements of like good things happening, Obviously besides the accident that I had with my partner in 2020 where he unfortunately passed away. Um but and like I don't know if this is warped at all, but then it kind of like again that also gives me some type of like positive, it's like, oh well, I didn't fall and
Yeah. No,
and
it almost seems like after that story, you doubled down.
I kind of did actually. Yeah,
It
I
was like
kind
the
of
opposite effect.
yeah, it did have like the opposite effect on me. If anything, I like doubled down and then like tried to, yeah, have more control over my situation. The one area with that accident that I still to this day I get really stressed about is like I think this is what it is. Like I'm very comfortable with things that I can control. So I'm comfortable when I'm leading. I'm comfortable when I'm in control of the situation. I'm comfortable when my partner's on a rope. I'm not comfortable when my partner's not on a rope or when they're scared or they're freaking out or they're in run out terrain. Like it's almost like maybe that's what it is. It's like almost like I would rather take the risk than have them take the risk. Maybe it's like I'd rather try and like shoulder that as opposed to them because then at least I'm in control of the situation. I'm literally just thinking this on the spot, but like that actually might be the thing is because at least then I'm in control of the outcome and I can like ensure their safety. Right? Because I think it did like, yeah, it did have a huge impact on me because after that, I was like, like I didn't do any alpine climbing for years. And even the alpine climbing that I do now, I mostly just do it by myself. Like, because with alpine climbing, you like spend large amounts of time unroped, like going through easy terrain or moderate terrain, which is, what that situation was. And yeah, when I'm with a partner, I'm just stressed. Like I'm just stressed all the time, right? Like I'm just like, how are they doing? Like even on like some approaches to like ice climbs, I'm just like watching them and I'm stressed. And like even if they're competent partners and like competent climbers, it's just like in the back of my mind,
There's like these visions of them falling. And
Totally.
you're just like, oh God, don't think about that.
Yeah, but then once I like get to the climb and I can get roped up and they get roped up, then all of a sudden, it's like I'm back in control of the situation and I can like control the outcome. And I think I am like obviously relatively comfortable being in, those, situations. And I think it is just, yeah, going back to like, I would almost rather be in them than have someone else be in them because at least then I can control the outcome. And if it's like a long run out, like, I'm stressed thinking about them falling. Whereas like when I'm in it, at least I can control it.
You're in control of your movement and
Yep.
your attachment to the rock, but you're not control of their movement. Like,
Totally.
yeah, I could definitely see that for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's so interesting how like this whole like survivorship bias or these certain lessons, like certain people take like one accident, even if it doesn't happen to them, and applies like that, and it changes their entire risk portfolio
Totally.
to everything.
Yeah.
And then there's people like you where it's like, okay, this happened and I'm going to learn this lesson in this entire like super specific single thing. Like someone else climbing that I don't have control over could die. Got it. Like I'm going to be stressed about that, but it doesn't change anything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
my risk tolerance everywhere else doesn't matter. You know?
That's
So it's interesting how so many like people
Yep.
react to certain things differently.
Yeah, it's like, who knows what that is? That's like psychology or something like that. There was a climber, another guy on Yam, and this is like good segue into Yamnuska.
There we go. Yeah.
Fucking love Yamnuska. But he was with a partner and they were doing a route and they're both incredibly experienced. Or at least the one guy was incredibly experienced for sure. And he was going up. It was like an easy climb. They were just like out for like an easy day. It was like 5'8" or something like that. And he fell and he pendulum and traversed. His rope was cut, fell to his death. And the other guy, his partner, was just like on the ledge. And he was on the ledge for like 2 hours, like waiting for search and rescue. And search and rescue finally like showed up and got him off and, held him down. And that was just it for him. He was like, nope, I'm done. Like, I'm done. I think he went out like one more time and he's like, nope, I'm just like absolutely done climbing. And so like, why did he choose to like never climb again? And why did I choose to double down and do more climbing? I don't know. That's just something in the brain, some psychology or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I think For me, it boils down to like how much you value the experience of climbing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yep. Yep.
I mean, I think that's awesome. Ultimately, that's it. It's like, I cannot think of a situation that would prevent me from climbing.
Yep.
Like, even if something super traumatic happened, like, I mean, I feel like I would still jump back on the horse in some way just because it's so integral to who I am. Like, I think for some people, climbing can be a hobby, and for others, it's a lifestyle. And I think for who it's like a deep ingrained part of their life.
Yeah.
It's like you can't just walk away from that because you're essentially walking away from like a part of who you are.
Yep. Yeah. 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 I don't. Yeah. Maybe for him, it like wasn't as integral to his life, but I feel like it's such an integral part to my life. Yeah. I've tried to like balance my life a little bit, but I still think it's like pretty skewed. I would say my life is like 65% climbing and then maybe like 35% business, like something in that range. But I try to have like something else in my life. So, if you have like shitty days climbing, it's not the end of the world, it doesn't like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like if you're like climbing full time and you have like bad days, I feel like it like really affects you because you're like, I remember when I took a year off and I just like climbed all the time. I was so hard on myself because I was like, all you're doing is climbing. This is all you have, and you suck at it. And so when you're doing it all the time, you like really, that has to be the thing. Versus if you have something else going, like even like for me it's business, but whatever it is, something else. So it's like, yeah, well, I do suck at this today, but that's okay because I'm gonna like go, do something else and get into some business and build some things over there, and I'm successful at another aspect of my life. But if you're like all in on it, like those, I feel like for me, maybe not for everyone else, but for me, those days, like when I took a year off and I would have bad days or I just like wasn't climbing what I thought I could climb, it would like really affect me. I'm like, dude, who fucking cares? Like just relax and have fun. That's what we're supposed to be. It's supposed to be fun, I think. Yeah. So
no, we talk about that concept, or I talk about that concept a lot on the show, is just like diversifying your attention or diversifying your skill sets.
Yeah,
like,
do something else.
It's so critical to have something else in the pocket besides climbing. Because like that example you just said is like so, what's the word? I've seen it so much.
Yeah, like where like other climbers are just all
It's
in.
just like, yeah, I mean, all you do, nothing but climbing. And
Yeah.
it's like, I think the biggest thing is like, if you get injured and you can't climb anymore, the amount of time that you've spent climbing,
Yeah.
like now you look back at that and you're like, fuck, like
Yeah.
I haven't done anything else. Now I have no skills. Like I'm not, this must be something in the room.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because it's first thing in the morning. We're still waking up. This is the first AM podcast you've done.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I probably look ragged.
Yeah, we do look ragged.
A little ragged.
Yeah, we did a big day yesterday.
But yeah, just diversifying that skill set, making sure you have something else to get back onto. Like
Totally.
I had to learn that lesson the hard way with my accident.
Yeah,
and
that's true, actually.
I'm
yeah.
glad that it happened when it did, because I had just made the decision to like, climbing's everything.
Oh no.
Like, and then like 2 weeks later, the universe is just like, that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
And I just like learned that lesson. I was in a wheelchair. I was forced to like reckon with myself, be like, okay, like
There's other things.
I gotta fucking figure something else out.
there.
And then I found like camera work. I've started, changed my career to work behind a camera. I created all this opportunity for myself that I now like am reaping the rewards from.
Totally.
But I still also jumped back on the horse and approached climbing in this completely new lens. And so basically the time that you invest, like I worry about people who like spend their entire 20s climbing, doing the van life, like a decade of your life doing nothing but climbing.
I mean, it would be pretty awesome, though.
I mean, it'd be sick. It's like, it's what we all dream about.
But then you get into your 30s and you're like, fuck,
yeah,
what
you
do
get
I
to
do
your 30s
now?
and you have a fucking midlife crisis.
Yeah.
Because all your friends have jobs and like
Houses,
careers and houses,
partners,
cars,
investments.
and you're still eating peanut butter and jellies. Like,
dude, I love peanut butter and jelly, though.
looking for the next climb. So I think it's just there's a different pathway and a different timeline for everyone. But I think just that concept and realizing that like there is more out there. And I think this is really important to note too. So far, everyone I've talked to that are like super successful, like accomplished climbers have something else.
Yeah.
It like I have yet to speak to somebody who is a super accomplished climber that has just been a Fred Becky their entire life. I literally haven't met one. Like, or I, if someone knows somebody, send them to me.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, I can think of so many names, and it's like they have another career. They have something else. Like sometimes like big careers, like big things that they've done, but they also are climbing 513, climbing 512, like these routes that people are trying to train their life for. Like you can do more, like you don't have to dedicate every ounce to climbing.
I think it's just like that A-type personality as well. I think like people that can get really consumed by climbing and are like an all or nothing personality. Like I am definitely like an all or nothing personality. Like if I choose to do something, I want to go all in on it. And then so usually how I think that like expands into your entire life is like everything you do, you go all in on, right? So it's like climbing, I'm like all in on this. Business, I'm all in on this. When I get into a relationship, I'm like all in on the relationship. So I think it is just like that type of personality that like suits those like elite level grades and the elite level climbing well. They usually have other things going because like very seldom that they're like all in on this and they have nothing else in their life that they're like, passionate about. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's cool, man. Met some really cool people, and I think like even
you've done this is like 115 or
I think this will be probably close to 120.
120, dude, that's amazing.
It's cool, man.
Yeah. Because what was my very first one that I did? I think it was like
30 something. Yeah. It's been a long time.
That's crazy, dude. You've done amazing with this. You've done so good with this. It's like every time I'm on it, like you like level it up. One more. I remember like the first one was just like on a webcam at my house, and then the second one was like a little bit. It's still webcam though. This is the first in person one we've done. Yeah, dude. And I think now you just like strictly do in person, or you want to strictly do in person.
I prioritize it heavily.
Yeah.
Just because I have the space, I have the equipment, and it's just so much better. Yeah. Like the conversational flow is better. I love having the cinema quality video and these mics, and you also get to meet people. Like digital relationships are so strange because it's like you see what they post on Instagram, you see that personality, and like you DM them, and it's like, oh, Stokes vibes, blah blah blah. It's cool, but put in a face and a personal like handshake, eye contact, interaction with a human is so much different, and it really like gives a face to the name. And so that way, like when you go back to that level of digital relationship, you have that personal experience to like have as a foundation, and it creates just such a better connection. And like the network, like I can probably travel around the country and like have places to stay or like people to climb with. Like when you take the time to meet people in person, it means a lot.
I feel like that was like one of the biggest benefits of, and I have like the smallest little YouTube and Instagram following in the world, but even like what small little, following and group that I've been able to create is like, for me, it's been like amazing because again, you like travel all these different places, you can like find different partners, and I've been able to meet so many people off social media for like staying at places. Did we meet on social media?
Through Max.
Oh, through Max. Okay. But Max I met on social media. So like this relationship right here was through social media. So yeah, I mean, it's been super beneficial.
I think that's like, I love that like you and I and other people, like that's what the tool's for. It's social media. Like it's for us to connect with each other, not doom scroll fucking.
Although I do that too.
I mean, we do that too. But I'm saying like there are some people, it's like that's it. Like you log in, you've got like you're not producing anything. You're just a consumer, and you're sitting there just like mindlessly scrolling content. It's like that's not what it was meant for. Like the whole thing was meant to connect us and like build relationships that exist outside of the digital space. And I think that like that part of the tool I have been able to really extract value out of.
That's amazing.
It's been so cool to meet so many cool people that you otherwise would never be able to meet.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. This show is brought to you by Livsin Designs. Livsin comes from the Swedish word livsinjutare, which literally means one who lives life fully. Living life fully for us means alpine starts, long days, and tough conditions that test our gear. Livsin rises to meet that standard so that you can focus on the experience and not your clothes. Their clothing is functional, versatile, and durable, purpose-built for life in the outdoors, with a goal to inspire us to invest more in quality products so that we can own less and live more. Whether you're at the crag, high up on a wall, on a date, or at work, Livsin is there for the entire lifestyle of the outdoor enthusiast. And they have an in-house repair program, so if they rip, tear, or fall apart in any way, you can send them in to Livsin. You even get to decide whether your repair falls under warranty or wear and tear. Plus, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can buy it, try it, and if you still don't like it, they'll just give you your money back. Right now, you can get 15% off at Livezen by going to the link in the description below and using code TCM15 at checkout. That's the link in the description below and code TCM15 at checkout. And remember, every dollar spent at Livezen is a dollar spent supporting this podcast. Let's talk about Yam. So before we
Dude, I
hear
love
the
Yam so
stories, like lay it, like for people who don't know what it is, where it is, how it is, give me the history.
Yeah. Yamnuska is basically like a kilometer wide and at its maybe tallest point 300 meter high. What is that? Like 1,000 feet, 1,200 feet, something that.
It's like 1,000 feet.
Yeah, it's basically like this cliff in the Canadian Rockies. It's like the first mountain you get to when you're driving out to the Rockies. It's on the right. It's just a cliff band. There's like 200 routes on it. It was like some of the first routes. There's actually a documentary. It's called The Ragged Edge. You should absolutely watch it. It's free on Red Bull TV. Go and watch it. You haven't seen it?
No.
Go watch it tonight.
I will.
Or well, maybe not tonight, but watch it. It's free on Red Bull TV. Just like go to Red Bull TV. But it was like the birthplace for climbing. In the Canadian Rockies. I think the first route was put up in like 1954, and they just like quested off into like oblivion and like doing that route now. That's Girl Mars Chimney. Doing it now, you're just like, how did you guys do this in the 50s? But it's like notoriously run out. It's notoriously chossy. It's really bad rock, and I'm like, oh wow, I'm really selling it. But I think like so when I first started rock climbing, so I've only rock climbed for like 3 years. I've ice climbed for 8 years, and I've rock climbed for 3. I think this is my 4th year now of rock climbing.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did a weird. I went the opposite way.
It's very Canadian of you.
Well, no, even Canadian. I don't think this is like the normal thing. I went from like hiking to scrambling to like kind of alpine climbing, like just mountaineering. Just like, oh, I bought the boots and everything, and then I had the boots, and I had the guy. He's like, oh, do you want to go dry tooling? I was like, I don't know what that is, but I have the tools and everything. So then I went dry tooling, and then dry tooling to ice climbing. And then I just got sucked down a rabbit hole of like ice climbing and mixed climbing. And 3 years ago, I guess 3 years ago, I was like, oh, I want to like get more into, I actually wanted to get more into rock climbing. So I was more confident placing gear so I could do harder mixed climbs. That was the original reason I started rock climbing. And then I started rock climbing. I'm like, Philip, you are such an idiot. This is way better than ice climbing. Why have you waited so long to do this? But Yamnuska just holds like a special place in my heart because that was like the first mountain. And I heard like everyone say like, oh, if you can climb on Yam, you can climb anywhere. Because if you can like handle the rock quality and the runouts and the choss and like the route finding and everything, the complicated nature of Yamnuska, you'll be fine like in Squamish, on Crack, or anywhere else, really. Not anywhere else in the world, but definitely like it's a tough mountain to learn on. And I think I just like heard that and I like gravitated towards it. Oh, that sounds pretty gnar.
Sounds like I'm gonna find a lot of shenanigans there.
yeah, dude, and I've found some shenanigans. But yeah, dude, I bought like a double rack like that summer. I was like, sweet, I'll buy a double rack, and I just like quested out. And man, I have so many stories. Like there's too many to even recount them all. But it's just like a wild mountain, like runouts and chimney climbing and just wild position. It's adventure climbing. That's what it is. It's like full on adventure climbing. And I started that summer. I did a bunch with like a bunch of partners, and they were awesome. We had so many like fun adventures, and I have like a few videos. There's actually one post that's on my Instagram that you should go check out if you haven't seen it, where I like finished this list. But I started that summer. That bled into another summer, the second summer. And there was this list called the Callan 34. And it's the original 34 routes that were put into the original 34 guidebook. And I'm not like a list person or like, I don't want to like tick everything. Like that's not like, what I go for. But I had turned 34. This was last summer. I turned 34 and I was like up on Yamnuska. And Kaylee was like, hey, like which routes have you done? Like what have you done out of the list? And I was like, oh, actually, like, let me go look. Because I wasn't doing the list, but just unintentionally I had done, I think like 20 out of the 34 already. And I was like, oh, I've done like 20 of them already. And I've like already done some like kind of hard ones. So like there's not that many, there's only like 14 left. And a lot of them are like on the east end and the west end, which are like the shorter sides of Yamnuska. So you could do like 1 or 2 or 3 in a day, right? So then all of a sudden it was like in my head, I was like, I have to finish the Callan 34 at 34. I have to do it before I turn 35. And so that summer we just like quested off and we're like nailing, like just getting them every weekend, trying to get them all in, get them all in. And there's some wild ones we were on, like crazy runouts and just like scary choss and like legs are shaking, like, oh God, watch me here. But, and shenanigans. But then I think it was like 2 weeks before my birthday, or maybe like even 10 days. And I think no, it was a week. It was a week before my birthday. That's what it was. It was a week before my birthday. And I had one route left, which I'd already been on. It was kind of like the crux of the whole list. It was called Yellow Edge, which goes at like 11C, but it's all on gear. It's fucking hard trad. It's like old school 11C. It's like stout, right? And we had gone up before. And my buddy, unfortunately, he was on like the 11A pitch and he just like Gastoned the wrong way on this like finger crack and he dislocated his shoulder. And then like I still kept going. I got to the belay and then I like quested off on the second last pitch. We're almost done it. And then unfortunately like a rainstorm came in and just like, showered us. So unfortunately, didn't get it done. So I had to go back and do that. But it was a week before my birthday. I'm walking down Yamnuska, just like casually strolling down. I've had no injuries on Yam. I've never taken a bad fall on Yam, like no gears ripped or anything. I'm walking down the hiking path and absolutely just fucking roll my ankle like directly 90 degrees, just like torque it sideways. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Then I'm like limping down. My foot the next day like swells up like 3 sizes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I have freaking 6 days left to finish this. And so like every day for like probably like 3 or 4 times a day, I'm like cold pack, hot pack, cold pack, hot pack. And then finally I could go to the gym and put it in like a running shoe, like a tennis shoe, like a trainer shoe. And I was like climbing like that. Then I could finally get it in like a rock climbing shoe. And then I could do a little bit of the gym. And I think it was 2 days before my birthday. And it was like the weekend of, or 3 days before my birthday. But I was leaving 1 day before my birthday for a trip. So I only had 2 chances to do this. So it was like do or die at this point. Like I had to do it, right? It was like this day, it was Saturday or Sunday. So we went on Saturday, went up, went with my buddy Noah, who like, shout out Noah. This is like my main climbing partner for Yam. He's like this young kid. He's like 24 and he's like very A-type personality, just like quests off. He's like, he loves the choss as much as I love the choss. I love this guy. But we got it done. We like did all the pitches, got it done. And then like got to the top and Kaylee was there with my friend Michael and they like surprised us. They brought like beer and like donuts and like chips and Gatorade. And then like Kaylee made us like t-shirts and it says like the Choss Boss and it has like the Callan 34 on the back. So that was awesome, man. I mean, I'm not like a huge like, list person, but I was like super proud of like finishing that list. Like I didn't think it would like mean as much to me as it would. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna like do this list and everything. But then I kind of finished. I was like, man, what a journey. It's been like 3 years since I've started rock climbing. And I remember like going on Yam at the beginning and like my buddy and like my 2 buddies that were like leading that year. And they were like quite confident and comfortable climbers, just like questing off. And I was like, never in a million years would I lead any of this shit. Like, this is so fucked up. Like, I would never, ever, ever lead this. This is so foobar. And then, like, fast forward 3 years, I'm, like, leading it all and, like, all the crux pitches and runouts. And it's just, like, it's so cool to look back and be like, wow, like, what a journey this has been. This is awesome, man. Like, I went from an absolute Gumby, to, like, not being comfortable in the slightest on that mountain to now being, like, I'm super comfortable on that mountain and, super confident. And so it's, like, really cool to see that journey. And I was, like, super proud of it. I didn't think it would, like, mean as much to me as it did. And then I kind of finished and I was like, that's really cool, man. Like you should be really proud of yours. Like I find like I struggle with this a little bit. Like I don't celebrate that many like milestones. I usually like accomplish something and then immediately I'm like, okay, cool. What's the next thing? But I think this one in particular, I just like took a second. I was like, yeah, Philip, like you should be pretty psyched right now. Like you should be, that's a lot of like hard run out, scary climbs. And like very few people, like, I don't know how many people have finished this, silly little list, but like not a huge amount. Like, I don't know, maybe 30 or 40 people or something like that. Maybe less. I don't even know. There's no like official list, but like definitely there's some routes on there that have seen very few repeats because they're so run out and scary. So Yeah, so I was like super psyched on that, man. That was probably like the biggest accomplishment going into the fall last year was getting that list done. And now that list is done, because when I first started, I just was doing whatever and unintentionally doing the list. But then last year, I definitely switched to just this list, which kind of it felt a little bit like restrictive, because then I just had to do the routes, whether they were good routes or not. I was just like, I have to do the list. But as soon as I finished the list, then I like immediately went home and I got the guidebook and I was like, all right, now I get to pick what I want to climb. So I actually created, me and my buddy, his last name is McDonald, Noah McDonald. And so we created the Setter McDonald 26. So it's 26 routes to do after you do the Callan 34.
Wow.
Yep. And it's like, it's a gnar list, dude. It's so great.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. It's like so many great routes. And, then I think about Yam is like the first 34 routes were all like natural on gear, right? After that was like the 80s psychotic era with like Jeff Marshall and Steve DeMaio, where like bolting was frowned upon. So like, don't put any bolts in. So then it was just like super hard because all the natural lines were climbed.
Taken, yep.
So now they're like, okay, we have to do like, natural to a face to a natural to a face. And it's just like massive runouts and like RX rated climbs. And that was like the 80s. And this is all in the documentary, by the way, if you're interested in it, you can watch it. But from like the 80s to the 90s was like this psychotic era where there's like 5 hard climbs, like up to 12A, like 11 minus to like 12A, somewhere in that range of just like R/X. And they're just like psychotic climbs. And then after that, which those are on the list, by the way, they all look amazing. They look really cool. And then after that, in the 90s going into the 2000s, all of a sudden bolting was allowed. So now, it started to become more like modern mixed. So it's like gear with like bolting where you won't die, which is great. And a lot of those climbs are on the list. And then of course in the 2000s, going into 2010, et cetera, moving forward, then all of a sudden sport climbing became more of a thing. And then the like all bolted lines started to come into play as well. We started really hard. I think there's like 14A on Yamnuska. I think that's the Blue Jean Direct. That's not on the list. That's a little above my pay grade for now.
Have you guys climbed everything on the 26?
No, we haven't climbed anything on the 26.
Oh, you guys, it's like a wish list.
I just made this list. Yeah. No, we haven't climbed anything. I could get my phone and read off a couple, but it's like, there's some great climbs on there. I'm super psyched for it. And I'm also super psyched to crank hard on Yam as well, because like the Callan 34, you're for sure like cranking hard, but it was like in that all natural era. So it's a lot of like chimneys and crack climbing and going, through natural features up the mountain. Not a lot of like, there is definitely some face climbing for sure, but going into like the modern era, and I included a lot of those routes in this new list. There's so many like modern mixed with like more bolts, like, up to like, whatever, 11 plus 12 minus or something, but it's bolted. So I'm super psyched because usually on Yam, you're just like, you like in your mind, you're like, I cannot fall because like the gear is probably bad. It's probably chossy. You kind of have that mentality versus now going more into this like mixed era of the 90s and 2000s. It's like, oh, sweet. I'm just like psyched to crank hard now and like feel like I could fall, like I'm not fearing for my life on it anymore. Like, don't get me wrong, there's probably still going to be like massive runouts and things like that. But I feel like, might be like new anchors, maybe chains. Like there's a lot of like janky little piton anchors and like old, like crappy little, the ones they like hammer in with the ring or whatever. There's a lot of old gear that you just had to be like, okay, well, I'm clipping this and this is the anchor, but this is dog shit.
Why? So like, again, I guess this is back to like the personality trait. Like you said, you're like, oh, I'm really selling this place. Like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people hearing these things like would be like, dude, this is fucked. Like, I would never want to go there. And you're here sitting like talking about it, like just like fucking lit up. Like, it's like the best fucking thing you could possibly do.
Yeah. Dude, it is the best thing.
Yeah. Like, what about that climbing like fires you up so much?
I think it's just like, there's several things. One, I think it's like the adventure. Like it's adventure, right? Like it's you're questing off into the unknown, right? And maybe like I haven't done any FAs, but maybe that's like, the hard desire for FAs, right? But it's like, it's always like, it's so adventurous. It's like, it's super, you got to quest off into oblivion, and route finding is difficult. And it's not just like, it's not just turn your brain off and crank, right? It's very much like, I need to think about so many things. Like, is my gear good? Is this good? Where's the belay? Is rock fall going to come down? Like, do I need to move it over here? Do I go left or right? Like, should I commit to this freaking run out? It's like, there's so much going on, and it's such a rewarding experience. Like, putting that all together, the route finding, the runouts, the chossy nature, not knowing where to go, and you're just questing off on, and then like when it all comes together, you're just like, wow, that was the most amazing adventure ever. I find you don't get that on sport routes. No, like on sport routes, you're just like, it's more of the physical attributes of climbing. You're like, I need to crank hard, so I need to crank on my fingers, and like I got to do the move, and gas on here and do, and you like put the sequence together, which is like, don't get me wrong, I still love sport climbing, and there's a place for that, but for me, it's like way more fulfilling and satisfying when you have all these other components that you need to think about, and you still like push forward in spite of everything, and you get those moments where you're just like, fuck yeah, dude, I fucking did that. Like, I quested off into oblivion. I found some like shit gear, but it was good enough. I kept going. I thought I was supposed to go right, kind of fucked that, came back down, went left, that way went, got up, built a belay. Fuck yeah, we did it. Like, it's just such a cool, rewarding experience when you have those moments and you push through that. You don't get that with sport climbing. And I also find you don't get that with just like just regular crack climbing. You're just like, this is the crack. I go straight up the crack to the top of the mountain. I like to put all those different pieces together. I find it much more satisfying and adventurous.
Totally. I don't know if I've brought this mental concept up, but I've like constructed these like 4 pillars of climbing. Have you heard me talk about this?
No. Maybe, but refresh my memory.
So like climbing, you just kind of talked about all these other parts of climbing that we derive value from. And so I've picked 4. Like adventure, partnerships, performance, and spirituality.
Adventure, partnerships, performance, spirituality.
And okay. I'll explain spirituality real quick. So, because I get some pushback on this one.
Okay.
To me, it's more like the phrase like, the outdoors is my church. It's like, it's a place for introspection, self-reflection. It's a place where we feel more connected to the world as at large, or if you believe in a God or a universe, whatever. It's like, at least for me, that place holds meaning in those kind of aspects. And so that's what the word spirituality means in that way. So rank those 4: adventure, performance, partnerships, and spirituality in order of importance to you and what they...
Ooh, that's a good one. I feel like it would be adventure. Oh, well, they're all good though. Fuck.
They're all key components to the experience of a climber. But like, and what I've found is like, as we grow and change as climbers, the tiers change.
Yeah.
Usually it's like performance is number 1 when we're young. And then as we get older, it like goes to adventure, and then it turns to partnerships.
Man, dude, they're all so good. They're all so important. I would say that it depends on the day as well. Like they might not all rank the same on every single day. And I think like you can kind of have buckets that are like, full or empty. And like at some point you might need more of the other. Right?
So it's a continual thing that you're feeding those buckets.
Yeah, it might not be like a static thing. It might be a variable thing. Like for example, like social time with partners is super important, right? Like I loved to go out with partners and like have a great time and like cruise around and have fun. And this could actually, I can tell you about like my partner selection for the winters, but like, yeah, to go out with partners and like friends and like catch up with people is super fun. But for me, that's not like a huge spiritual aspect, right? You're like going with partners and it's kind of like, what the day is going to be. You're laughing, you're having fun. It's a good time. And it can be an adventure for sure. Depending on what you pick. So you could get those 2 buckets, but for me, it wouldn't be very spiritual. For me, I get a lot of the spiritual aspect from soloing and being by myself. And they're not always like equal, you know what I mean? So like sometimes my spiritual bucket will be full and I'll be like, I'm good. I just want to go, I want to be with people, right? I want to hang out with people and, have a good day and laugh and tell jokes and, shiver together at the play and like have a fun time. But sometimes that spiritual aspect is like quite drained. And even like 2 weeks ago before I came here, like at that spiritual side, just with like everything that was going on in my life and with business and relationships and everything else, I just like felt like that spiritual aspect and the connection with myself was really low. And so I was like, I want to go and just do like a day by myself, totally by myself. And so I like picked this like one ice climb. I sold it in the past. It's like super awesome. You like go high up on this mountain and you get like so much fun adventure because you get to bike ride, which is great. You go for like a nice little bike ride for like whatever 7 kilometers, and then you get to walk through the forest, which is beautiful. And there's like a river there that you get to walk by, and it's like flowing. And then you get to climb like 4 or 5 pitches or 6 pitches, depending if, an Avi has buried some of them or not, which this year it has. So it's only like 4 or 5 pitches. But of like WI4, and it's like all like steps. So it's like a great little warm up. You're just like cruising around, having fun, going through those motions. And then you get to have this beautiful walk like up the mountain, through the snow. And then you get into this huge gully, which is just like, it's so alpine-esque. It's beautiful. And you're in this crazy environment. And then there's this, it's like a 2-pitch WI5, WI5 plus or something like that. And it's just an amazing climb. And the position and is like outrageous, dude, because you're like way above the highway. You're like almost, not at the top of the mountain, but you're like pretty close. You're like 2/3 the way up. You're like pretty high up. And it's just like such an outrageous environment. So my spiritual bucket was just like so full. And then like also completing it as well. Like, when you're at like the crux section and you're just like, this is fucking pretty wild, right? Like you're doing like hard kind of like overhanging moves on ice and you're like 100 meters off the ground already. You're like, oh, this, and then the ground is, like 600 meters or 800 meters from the river, from the base bed. You're like, this is outrageous and this is really awesome. And so like that's really cool. So like my spiritual bucket is super full now. So now it's like, sweet, I'm stoked to go to Red Rocks and like crank on the other components as well. So so it depends on the day, man. I don't know if I could actually ever rank any of those number 1 or number 2, because like some days I want to hang out with partners and it doesn't matter what I do. I just want to hang out with partners, and we could just like we could cruise around on some easy ice, or like if you came to Canada, dude, it wouldn't matter what we did. I would just like cruise around and have a good time with you. Like we could do anything. It doesn't matter, right? I just want to like hang out and cruise around and have fun, right? And like definitely performance. There's some days where I'm like, dude, I just want to crank hard. And I think having the moon board in my garage like really helps with that, and I get to like crank hard twice a week, so that's really good. And then what was the other? Spiritual and adventure. Yeah, I couldn't.
I like the concept though.
It's variable, man. I could never decide on. I couldn't put an order. They're definitely like they're buckets. Yep. And sometimes when if you do too much just like cruisy easy adventure climbing with a partner, it's like those two again. If you do too much like 5/8 climbing, like with a girlfriend, for example, if all you're doing is like 5/8 climbing or 5/9 climbing and you're cruising around, eventually like the performance side is going to start getting drained and you're like, I just need to get somewhere and like crank hard and like feel that again. And the spiritual side will be, maybe getting drained as well. So it's just levers. I couldn't rank them. It's just levers. You have to fill them up as they get depleted.
Yeah, no, I like that mental concept for sure. I haven't heard anybody explain it that way. Usually it's like the variability is time. Your pillars change in order of importance over time, but I like the way you frame that, where it's like they all exist, they all are valuable, they all are why I climb. But yeah, you feed them with different objectives depending on where you are.
Yeah, and you gotta if one's full and one's empty, you have to go do that. You have to fill the other one up.
What about your ice climbing season?
It was, it wasn't, it was a slow year. I didn't actually get that much done. Work was really busy this year. Had a few life changes as well that kind of took me away from the mountains. But it was still a good year. I mean, I got a few climbs in that I'd never done before, so that was really cool. I went up to the Parkway. I did Curtain Call, which I'd never done before because it's so far. It's like a 3-hour drive or 3.5-hour drive, which maybe actually to some people they're like, "What are you talking about?" That's like my
That's my commute to work.
That's my commute to work. For me, like 3.5 hours is so, and you got to wake up early too.
It's a long drive.
That's a long drive. Did Curtain Call, that was amazing. Did Polar Circus with the pencil with Kaylee. That was really cool. That'll be the last time that I do, what's it called? Not Polar
Circus?
Polar Circus. Thank you. Polar Circus. That'll be the last. I had the pencil in my brain.
Just too much objective hazard.
So much objective hazard, dude. If you look at like the Avi slopes.
I saw the picture of it.
It's fucking foobar. Yeah. That'll be the last. I've done that 3 times now in the last like 3 years, and I wanted to take Kaylee up it, so we did that. I did get one cool climb. It's called Happy Days. Rarely formed. It's usually rated, I think it's rated like WI 6 plus X or something like that.
Jeez.
But there was gear on it.
Yeah, yeah.
You could put gear on it actually. But it was great. It's rarely ever formed. It's like this pillar. You go up like the backside of the pillar, and then you go around, and then you like pull over the front, have these stemming overhanging moves. It was quite awesome. That was really cool. Did mix master as well. That was really cool. I soloed Sakurai just 2 weeks ago. That was like a fun spiritual experience. That was really fun. But other than that, man, it was kind of like a slow year. Didn't really do anything that notable. In the fall, we tried to get on a bunch of things and we just kind of got shut down. Um, a bunch of times. We tried to do a bunch of like mixed or not mixed, but alpine climbing, but just got shut down for like one reason or another. So I'd like to try and it's like pretty good alpine season actually right now in the Rockies. So I'd like to, when I get back, like try and put some effort into like lining up some partners and getting on some objectives. But yeah, it was a slow season, man. I got out, did some climbing, did a few things, had some fun. But nothing crazy notable, nothing like, yeah,
Career defining.
nothing career defining. Yeah, I wish I had cooler things to come and share with you, but nothing. Yeah, work was really busy. Went through a few life changes. Really the biggest thing that I did this winter was trained for rock. Like I got into a really good training regime with like the moon board. I put the moon board in the garage and been doing like a lot of indoor climbing and max hangs and things like that. And I also tore my A2 in the fall and I've healed that over the winter. So it's been kind of like a recovery year, training, did lots of training. Now that it's like summer, I'm like stoked to actually like utilize all the training that I've done over the winter. And yeah, just life changes. So nothing crazy. Did a couple things, couple fun things, but nothing career defining.
I've interviewed several people who have died. Can't interview someone who's dead.
Yeah, no, you can't. Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, you wouldn't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know if I would want to do that. Interviewed people who have been a part of accidents of fatalities because of ice pillars collapsing. You have lots of experience climbing pillars. I've heard of it breaking at the top. I've heard of a chasm forming underneath the pillar, and then the pillar collapses from the bottom. What is your experience with pillars? Like, how are you mitigating that risk? Have you had any sort of close calls with collapses? Like, what's your thought process in terms of mitigating that risk when you're climbing pillars?
That is a good question. I think this goes back to like, yeah, I mean, knock on wood, I haven't had any bad experiences. Um, yeah, luckily, like nothing's ever fallen. Like I think I told you that yesterday, there's a climb called physiotherapy, which there's like a dagger you pull onto. And my friend was there belaying another guy, and the guy swung into the dagger. The dagger broke, came down, and like just severed his arm.
The belayer's arm.
The belayer's arm, yeah, my buddy. And it's just like they did multiple surgeries, but it's like it's just not even connected. Like it's just a dead arm. Um, I had one experience where I was like at a crag and I was like belaying another guy, and he was like going up and he like swung into the curtain and like the pillar came down and it was like literally coming down on my head. It would have fucking killed me. And it was so funny because in the moment I was just like so casual. I was like talking to another guy and I just like saw it and I just like stepped to the side. It just like like lands right beside me. And I just like I don't know, maybe there's something wrong with my brain or something like that. But like I was talking to the guy, I was like, yeah, so anyways, what were you saying? And the guy was like,
Holy
he was
shit.
like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you're like, dude, I literally, you were about to die. I saw this thing coming. But I think it just like happens so fast, in those moments. And like your danger receptors don't even have time to like fire. You don't even know you're in danger. And then it happens so fast. And you're like, oh, well, that just happened, I guess. Right. Like you don't have time to process it until later. But other than that, like just going back to your question about ice climbing and daggers and pillars and things like that, like, yeah, knock on wood, I've never had any super bad experiences.
Is that like luck, preparation? Like, what's your process in terms of like judging whether or not something's safe to climb?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of luck for sure. Like I'm not gonna downplay that it's not luck. I think for me, when it comes to like daggers and pillars, so daggers you're usually climbing onto from a mix section, in which in that case, like usually you have your belayer out of the way, and then it doesn't matter if you fall or not, right? Because you're usually just falling on the bolt. or gear, and the dagger's going to go that way. And then I just don't put any gear in the dagger, right? I just like climb up the dagger until it's like solid, and then I put a piece in. I just like commit to like falling. And I guess for that, it's like you climb super carefully and like you're not hammering into the ice, obviously. So you just try and be as delicate as possible.
Do you have, like, I've seen some people like before they get onto it, they like kick it.
Oh,
And like to test it in a way.
I won't.
You don't kick it?
No, I'll just look at it and kind of, yeah, I'd be worried if you kick it, then it would come down. And then
I mean,
it
that's
depends.
the point, right?
It
It's
depends.
Like, can it sustain a certain level of impact that I might generate by climbing it? Like, it's like I've seen people test it that way.
I mean,
almost.
I would kick it if it was like I needed to clear some to get onto the other dagger, for example. Like if there's a small one and then a big one, I would like kick the small one out of the way and get onto the big one. But then just in terms of like pillars, so pillars are different. Pillars, you need to like suss them out and look. Like Happy Days, for example, that was like a pillar that went up. And you just like look at it. You just like, visually inspect it, look at it, see what it is, see if it's attached, where is it attached, is it bonded up there? How's the weather? Is it warm? Is it cold? If there's been a cold snap, they're like fragile, they can break. So you kind of like just look at all those variables, and it might just be like intuition after you've ice climbed for a certain amount of years. But with daggers, yeah, you just like look at them, you determine like, can I put screws in this dagger or not? And if I can put screws, great. Okay, cool. Then I'll put some screws in. But if I can't put screws in, then I go into this basically like a framework that I have for climbing, whether it's rock or ice, where I'm like, okay, do I continue to go? And usually my methodology for like determining whether or not I should continue on in those situations is, can I comfortably down climb this? So I never put myself in a situation where I don't think I could reverse all the moves to get there, right? So I'm not usually one to just like push past like, oh, I just have to make one hard move and then like I'm good. I'm usually not one to do that. I usually will like look at the situation and I just like do one move, do another move, do another move, do another move. And I can keep going up the pillar. And as long as I'm still comfortable with every move that I've done and I could down climb and reverse all of those moves, then I can continue. But if I get to some point where for whatever reason, I can't put any gear in and I don't think that I could down climb the move, that's usually when I stop. And I'll just down climb it and be like, nope, it's just not. And I'll be the first one to admit, like I bail off lots of stuff. I've definitely like bailed less in my later years as I've gathered more experience. I've gotten stronger, but in my early years, yeah, for sure. I bailed on tons of stuff, dude. I just like, no, I'm not feeling this. It's not something about it is, sussing me out, and I don't want to continue up. I don't think I could reverse a move, so I'm just going to bail.
Yeah, that's cool. It's good to be transparent about that. And I think, yeah, I mean, ice climbing, the whole thing is like, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall. It's like, yeah. I mean, I climb trad with like a soloist mentality in a way where I try to like make moves that are, I guess, not reversible, but like, I don't feel like I'm going to come off. I'm not like out of balance. It's like everything's focused and like I don't want to try to make sure I'm as secure as possible. And it seems like it's just required in ice climbing.
Yeah, I think that probably comes just from your accident though with trad climbing with the nut, and that's why you treat it like a soloist.
Yeah, I mean,
for sure.
Like to me, like in that situation, I thought I was completely safe, and I missed something. Obviously, I wasn't experienced, but it just like opened my eyes to like how random chaos is in the mountains, and like you don't know what you don't know. How do you mitigate risk that you're unaware of? And so it's like to me, falling is the most dangerous thing you can do in climbing. Like,
and rappelling.
Yeah.
Rappelling. I get stressed on rappels more than I get stressed on leading.
We'll get back to talking in just 1 minute, but first, I need to tell you about my favorite climbing pants. Livzin's EcoTrek trail pants are by far the best climbing pants I've worn in my entire 12 years of climbing. Durable, flexible, lightweight, and packed with useful features like zippered pockets, an internal waistband drawstring, and a unique leg roll-up system. Other climbing pants don't even come close. Either the fit is terrible, they wear out in a single season, or you can only wear them climbing. Livzin's EcoTrek trail pants are unique in the fact that they're rugged enough to climb in and still classy enough to go out on a date in. You're essentially getting 2 pairs of pants for the price of 1. Plus, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can buy them, try them, and if you still don't like them, they'll just give you your money back. Right now, you can get 15% off your next pair of Livzin EcoTrek trail pants by going to the link in the description below and using code TCM15 at checkout. That's the link in the description below and code TCM15 at checkout. And remember, every dollar spent at Livzin is a dollar spent supporting this podcast.
I want to talk specifically about your to Pulley
Oh, yeah.
injury.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And one, how it happened, and then how did you recover from it? Because it's like it's such a
Common?
I don't want to say common. I don't know if that many people are having pulley injuries,
A lot, though.
but it's like it's the thing we all fear, right? Especially if it hasn't happened to you, it's like, oh, I don't want that to happen, you know. So yeah, talk to me about your experience with that and how you recovered.
I have really good news for everyone. If you're not an idiot, you will not pull your ATM. So how I did it, dude, like actually how I did it is just because I'm an idiot. Like I'm not joking with that. My buddy came over to do a photo shoot. And he's like also a climber, but we were just doing like a photo shoot for business, like getting a bunch of things. So he came over and we did, we went for a walk. We did some, in a park, whatever. We did it in the house, on the couch, blah, 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 got all these different shots. And then he's like, oh, let's go. And I have a moon board in my garage. So he's like, oh, let's go to the moon board. And I'm like, oh, sick. So he's like, oh, okay. He's like, put your shoes on, like you're putting your shoes on. I'm like, okay, sounds good. So I put my shoes on and he's like, oh, okay, cool. Now like put some chalk on your hands. Like you're about to climb. I'm like, oh, okay, sounds good. And so then he's like, okay, cool. I got some great shots there. And then I'm like standing there in my garage. It's cold. It's like -5 in the garage, and, I'm standing there with my shoes on and chalk on my hands, and I'm like right in front of my moon board. So obviously I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just do it. And so then I'm just like, no warm up, no nothing. I'm just an idiot. Like I wasn't lying about that. And I just like got on this. And then of course there's like, you want to send because he's like, oh, cool. And then he's like taking photos. And so like, oh, I want to send. So I just cranked super hard, didn't warm up. It was cold outside. It was -5. And immediately I could feel it. Like I actually came down. And then it's funny actually, because I came down and I was like, oh, what the fuck? Like something happened. And then like he was still snapping photos. And so then he sent me the photo. He's like, I have the moment. I literally have the moment where you realize that you tore your A2. And I was like, yeah, I'm an idiot. And it's funny, actually. I think it's like 98% healed. But even now, like this morning, I woke up, I climbed the last 2 days in a row, and I could feel like it's just a little sore. It's a little stiff. You can kind of feel it a little bit. But recovery was interesting. And I'll share this, like, I actually want to share this with everyone because it like really helped me. First little while, didn't do anything. I think it was like 6 weeks that went by. And I was taping it and I was still climbing, but I wasn't doing like really crimpy. Like half crimp was really hard. I did a lot of recovery with like a kettlebell and like the hand block or whatever. So I would do like open hand, I would do half crimp, but I was doing like nothing, like 35 pounds. It's like the max I could do.
This is how long after the injury?
About a month.
A month.
About a month after. I think I took 2 weeks like completely off and I just like lifted weights and yeah, actually at the time I got like, this is, one of those things about having something else in your life besides climbing. Cause I was like super depressed. I was like, oh my God, like what am I going to do now? Like I can't climb. And that's actually when I started the 75-day challenge and I got everyone together because I knew that I wouldn't be able to like motivate myself on my own without climbing. So I was like, I need to get a group together. So then for the first little while, it was just like doing weights, which I hate doing weights, dude. Like I hate lifting weights, dude. I know like it's good for you to like do all those other muscle groups. Like you should train your agnostic. Is it agnostics? Agnostic? No, not agnostic. What's the word I'm looking for? Anterior?
No, that's
like the opposite. What's the opposite muscle? What's that called? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Though.
Antagonistic.
Antagonist. Thank you. Antagonist muscle. Like you should do push-ups and you should do like all the other things. And you should strengthen your shoulders. And I do it, but I hate doing it. Like I'd rather just climb. Like I just want to climb all the time. But I know it's good for you. So I was doing all that. And then about a month in, about 2 weeks in, I started doing light climbing again. A month in, I started to do more just like no crimps, just like jogs, a lot of endurance climbing. And then 6 weeks, it was probably like, I would say like 20% healed after 6 weeks. And then that was at the time when I started to talk to like a lot of people and they were like, oh man, I did, peptides. I did BPC 157 and TB 500 and it drastically helped me. And I was like, okay, sure, it's worth a shot. So I ordered that combo. So it's BPC 157 and TB 500. And you just, it's called like a subcutaneous needle. So it's just like a little tiny little thing. And I like got the little water and I mixed it all up and I did the thing and I bought all the needles and I like went to the pharmacy and like I was like, yeah, I will take 20 needles. And he's like, what kind of needles? I'm like, the little kind that you the penicillin needles. I've got no idea.
Insulin needles.
Insulin. Oh, that's what it is. Insulin needles. So I got those. He probably thought I was a drug addict or something like that. Yeah. So I did that over the first bottle was like 20 days, and I went from 20% healed to like 70% healed in 20 days. Like it was massive, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, I can crimp again, I can climb again. That was really good, and it was so good that I was like, oh, I'm gonna do a second bottle. So then I bought a second bottle and did another 20 days. But that 20 days was, I would say, I went from 70% to like 80%. So it wasn't as drastic of a recovery. So I think it's like the initial like first period that really is the most beneficial. So I think if you did it, just do one. I think it's like diminishing returns after one. But yeah, that went great, man. I did that. Kept training, started hangboarding again, started moonboarding again, and now I'm like fully back in it, like crimping, like open crimp, half crimp. Yeah, moonboarding, everything. It's like pretty much healed now.
How long has it been?
It's been a while now. It was in like November. So what is that?
So like 5 months,
5 months.
5 or 6 months.
Yeah.
It's crazy how long those things take to heal. Even,
They take a
even
while,
with
yeah.
like specific training and like
It's such a small little thing. It's just like a small little tendon. And there's not
not
very
a lot
little
of blood flow.
There's not a lot of blood that goes into your hands. So it just takes so long. So like my recommendation is like, don't be an idiot and like, yeah, like don't do it. Cause I think it's going to like affect me for probably like a long time. Just like chalk it up to like another injury that I have, which sucks.
Do you tape your finger now?
What's that? Oh, I did.
That helped so much
with
mine.
When I first did it. Yeah, I did. And then I would also tape like the buddy finger as well. But then I was doing like a bunch of reading that like you want to tape it for the first little while to stabilize it. But then once you want the healing to like accelerate, you want to untape it because then you're putting more stress on it, which is good for recovery. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I have a funny story. It wasn't living in Colorado, like first couple of years outdoor climbing. It was a cold night. I met this guy at a climbing gym. I was doing a woofer course. We're like, let's go to a climbing gym. Let's go bouldering. And like I get to the gym and I'm like young self trying to fucking show off. And I'm like, I'm going to start with this 11 beat.
Yeah.
And literally like the start hold is like a crimp rail. And you have to like pull up on it to get to the next one. Popped both at the same fucking time.
Both A2s?
Snap, snap.
No.
Ring fingers.
You never told me this.
Yeah, both
Are
fingers.
you serious?
Yep.
How long ago was this?
This was so long ago, like 8-9 years ago.
Oh, dude.
And I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what the injury was. And so like I just felt it snap and I was like, oh, that's weird. Finished the pitch. Like climbed the whole thing on site. And I get down and I'm like, oh man, that kind of hurts, you know? I think I climbed another route afterwards still. And finally after that, I was like, okay, this is like kind of painful. I should probably stop. And like I stopped and dude, the worst. My right finger was so bad. It was like probably like almost a full rupture. And my left is pretty rough. And that thing, it took so long to heal. I was out for the whole winter. Like
God.
It was really bad. Luckily,
that's really bad.
Luckily they healed, but yeah, taping it was really critical. I didn't really have any training protocol back then. Didn't know about peptides or anything, so I just kind of raw dogged it.
So how long after?
It was probably like six months or so until I had like a recovery. It was nice. I mean, I was young.
How do you feel? Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
I did. The next close call I had was in Reno after my injury. So after I took a bunch of time off, I started getting back into the gym again and climbing. And I remember going for this hold and a foot slipped while I was on a crimp, and I felt like the feeling and I instantly let go of the wall. Instead of fighting it and like trying to save it, I just let go. And then I stopped climbing the rest of the day. And because I knew what it was. I felt it like start to tear. Like you could feel the fibers start to like stretch apart. And you're just like, no, don't let it happen. And then I recovered from that one in like 2 weeks.
Nice. Wow.
And so that one, and I started taping that one up again too. But yeah, I also found out the reason why I was like stressing my ring finger so much is I was over pronating my hands when I crimped. Instead of rotating this way and putting like pressure on the index and middle, I was rotating out and favoring the outsides of my hands for some reason. And so I was overloading.
How did you find that out?
I just self-analyzation. Like I was just like analyzing how I hold on to holds.
How? But how did you know that was wrong?
It makes sense. Like, why am I pulling my fucking ring finger? Like, why is this the finger that keeps getting fucked up? It's because I was over pronating.
I would not have the context or ability to like think that how did you figure that out?
I don't
Actually,
know, like just self-analyzation, really.
That's
Like I was just like
insane.
analyzing my own movement.
because you think about it, you'd be like, I grab the hold and I pull up and then I get to the top of the climb, so it makes sense. Like what?
No, I analyze my movement pretty heavily.
Oh God,
Like I make all the Instagram videos too, and so not only do I climb a lot, but I watch myself climb a lot, and then after I make the videos, I shamelessly watch the videos.
Yeah.
Like I'm probably my biggest viewer on my own channel, and like it sounds self-absorbed and kind of
no,
like,
it doesn't sound
creepy.
self-aware. No, you're just
But
it's like you're just watching training feedback.
it's like I've been
Olympic
realizing
people
this.
do that all the
I've been
time.
realizing this more and more recently, like how beneficial watching my own videos of my own climbing has been for my climbing,
Interesting.
because I don't climb that much. Like you like compared to some people.
Well, no, you don't climb that very at all.
Yeah,
On weekends.
you don't climb at all. You're fucking busy. I like spend weekends climbing.
That's it. Yeah, you're just
like
a
pretty much weekend warrior.
It's
But I'm able to like.
crazy. And you don't even
won't-
train during
I
the
don't
week.
train during the week.
It's so crazy.
I don't hangboard. Like I would say my strength is technique.
Yeah.
And I've derived a lot of that through self-analyzation of my own movement through climbing. And then on top of that is a sense of familiarization. And so I'll get to the base of a climb and I don't have to shake off the cobwebs. I don't have to shake off that, like get into my lead head. I don't need to like go through some sort of transitionary period because I've been climbing all week in my head. Because I'm watching these moves and I'm watching myself place gear and I'm analyzing the movement. And so it's fresh in my mind and I can apply it to real life.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I don't feel like I would have the context to like look. Yeah, maybe if I did watch like more videos of myself climbing, I could be able to get that. But like where you would put your like, oh yeah, I'm cranking this way versus this way, I would never be able to identify that. That's wild. Good for you, man. That's crazy. Yeah, the fact, just like one little side note, the fact that you climb as hard as you do and you don't train at all, and like you only climb on weekends is so wild, man.
I also lean into my own strengths, right? Like I can't sport climb. Like if it starts to go overhanging at all, I'm a terrible climber. And so it's like I'm very much technique heavy, which means I rely heavily on footwork. I love stemming. I love corner climbing. Cracks are my specialty because you can get constrictions, and so you're hanging on the bones rather than relying on strength. And so like obviously I'm fit, but like I'm not, like if I trained a lot, I could like be a way better climber. I got all this. I mean, I use so many excuses to why I don't train. It's my next goal is like to try to find some space in my life to actually dedicate some time to training. Because I know I need to. But yeah, it's just hard.
I think so for me, because I'm like very busy as well, and I think one of the things that's really helped is like having things in the house, because then it's like you don't have an excuse. You're like, it's in the evening, I can crank out 30 minutes or 40 minutes. You can do something, and like having the moon board in the house is because then you don't have to drive anywhere. Having the moon board in the house, and like even the hangboard, man. Like if you just did max hangs twice a week, and you did that, and that takes like 12 minutes or 15 minutes, right? You do a quick warm up, just do max hangs twice per week. In 6 months from now, you'd be like, holy crap, I'm hanging on like a 20 mil edge for like 10 seconds with whatever, 50 pounds. You're like, okay, I could crank this 13A move.
Yeah. No, I mean, if I'm being honest with myself, it's just it's just an issue of self-discipline.
Yeah, no, dude, that's totally fair.
Do I drink a Cutwater or do I hit the hangboard?
Dude, you love drinking.
I do. I like drinking.
I do too, but
Yeah.
I usually limit it like during training cycles, and then when I go on vacation, I go heavy on it.
Yeah. That's a lesson I need to learn. We
don't have to learn it.
I'm actively trying to learn that lesson. I have like a calendar on the board, and like whenever we don't drink, we'll color in a square.
Oh, good.
And so there's like, you can go through the year and look. We're like, ooh, not a lot of squares in like February. Not a lot of squares in January.
Interesting.
And I'm not like, I don't binge drink. I'm not like
You're just consistent with it,
I'm
though.
just consistent.
You're disciplined. So you do have
I'm a disciplined
discipline.
drinker. Yeah. Like it's like I'll have a drink with dinner, or, like I'll have a drink after climbing. Like, I don't know.
Dude, drinking, yeah.
It's a vice of
honest,
mine.
I love drinking. I love drinking. There's so many like social aspects to it too. Like one of my favorite things is just like making dinner and crushing a bottle of wine. one of my favorite things to do. It's like, let's get home, let's crack a bottle of wine, let's make some steak and potatoes and asparagus and everything. That's like one of my most favorite things to do. So I totally, and like beers after a climb is awesome. You had a bad day, whiskey, that's awesome. You had a good day, cocktails, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's a crutch, but I don't know.
You also have to enjoy life, dude. It's not all about
there's
like
that weird,
cranking
there's
hard.
that weird balance. But I say for me, the biggest concern is just like with the consistency, like what long-term health effects are like waiting for me down the line. But then like my parents are the same way. They're like, bottle of wine at dinner, like go out, drink. They were drinkers, but like, I don't like the word functional alcoholic because like some people could call me an alcoholic.
You're not.
For sure. But I feel like an alcoholic is someone who lets alcohol negatively impact their life like a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you can shine the light on me. Like, you're like, oh, well, actually
Kyle,
you're fucked up.
Hang on, wait for it. There's actually going to be a couple of people. We're doing an intervention. They're coming in any second.
Yeah. I don't let my vices like get in the way of everything else that I'm trying to accomplish.
I think that's probably like the key point is like, do you let alcohol affect other areas of your life versus supplement your life? And I feel like alcohol supplements my life and it doesn't detract from my life. Like it's never been in like I've never had any conversation. Philip, you need to stop drinking. You drink, you know what I mean? Yeah. And also just with like how active we are and athletic we are, I feel like we burn a lot of that off. I feel like we don't get a lot of like the obesity health effects that come with drinking alcohol and also being obese. I don't know. Who knows? I'm not a fucking doctor, dude. I could be totally wrong.
I think the one thing that that's great about this whole TRT journey that I've been on is that I do blood work. And so I get thyroid, liver enzymes, like kidney function, like I have markers that I'm tracking. And so far everything is normal. So it's like,
dude, then just keep going, bro.
Yeah, it's a balance. For me, like I am so fucking busy. Like I don't have any downtime. I wake up, I answer emails and I work. I go to work and I work all day. I come home and I'm either like meal prepping or I'm working on the podcast or whatever. Like, and that's my fucking week. And then on top of that, it's like, oh, surprise trip. We're going down to Imperial to shoot this video. Oh, surprise. I have fucking 6 people I'm interviewing this week because everybody's in town. It's like that shit is just like, it happens all year. And so like the drinking is like a way for me to like force my body to decompress and go parasympathetic a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's like one of the main functions I use it for is just like,
dude, for sure,
just decompression.
Dude, you need it. Like you need to strike some balance in life. It can't all be like, there needs to be. And I think what you're doing it a healthy way where it's like you're not binging on something. I think that's like a bad thing.
The binging is bad.
Yeah. I think that's something that I need to work on is like having more of and I think I'm getting better now, but so you might do it with alcohol. I do it with food, right? So I have a really unhealthy relationship with food where I will go in like long periods of like extreme consistency. Like I eat the exact same thing. Like when I did 75 hard, for example, it was the exact same thing every single day for 75 days. Like literally down to the T, things measured out, everything. And I got like super lean, dude. I got down to like 152 pounds. And which for me is like, was my ideal weight. And it's so funny. I like struggled so hard to get there. As soon as it was off, as soon as 75 hard was done, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm throwing a raclette party. We're eating cheese and fucking meat. And like not immediately, but like within the 2 months since I finished 75 hard, I'm back exactly where I was before, which is 162 pounds, so 10 pounds heavier. And I have like a really unhealthy relationship between like, can I just function normally and like have a nice meal, have a good dinner, and not just like restrict, binge. So I think what you've done with alcohol is like, you just have like a little bit, every night or every other night versus the alternative to that. I guess there's 2 alternatives. Never drink at all, which like, we're not going to do that, obviously. Or like binge, like restrict, binge, restrict, which I think is super unhealthy. I think if I could have your relationship that you have with alcohol, with food, I would probably be in a much better position in my life.
Yeah, it's a tough. We all have like these battles that we have.
We all have our vices, dude.
And then some people don't have any. Like my buddy Bryce, dude, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke weed, no nicotine, no like nothing. Like he's just fucking.
He's just a good guy.
Good guy, man. And it's just so interesting. I mean, he has his own stuff he deals with, but like just like we all do. But yeah, some people it's just like, yeah, so it's just like dry. It's like, all right, cool.
I think that's probably like, besides obviously climbing, which is like a healthy vice to have. I think for me, I don't have a vice with like alcohol or anything like that. I think it is just food. Like that's like when there's some people that get stressed, and when they're stressed, they don't eat. Right. And I envy those people because when I get stressed, like my go-to is like, oh, I had a really shitty day. So I'm just going to like go and fucking order a bunch of like McDonald's and fucking Wendy's or something like that. And just like sit on the couch and I'm like putting Netflix on. I had a super shitty day and I'm like not going to work out. I'm just going to eat fucking French fries and burgers and milkshakes. Like that's my vice. I don't drink. Like when I don't drink.
You don't drink
like,
when you're
no,
like in a negative mindset?
No, not really. No, I don't drink when I'm in a negative. I eat when I'm in a negative. Yeah. So it's just like, that's my vice. Like when I have shitty days and I'm stressed, I reach for the Uber app, Uber Eats.
Uber Eats, yeah.
Yeah, Uber Eats. And I get myself some McDonald's, which I don't know which word. Would you rather reach for the bottle? But the thing is, if I reach for the bottle, then I'd get hungry and I'm also sad. I'd probably
you
just
do
eat
both.
as well. Yeah, I'd probably just do both. So luckily, I usually, when I'm like having a shitty day and I'm stressed, I only go to the food. But it's super unhealthy, dude, because I'm like, it's like
If I were to pick
you're
between
crushing fast food
and
shitty
alcohol, I'd choose alcohol every time.
Yeah, good for you, dude. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which one's worse.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's funny what you say about the Uber Eats. Like, we're all dealing with, not all of us, a large segment of the population is dealing with like social media addiction. And like, so, I mean, I'm guilty of it because I have to fucking be on my phone to do the job that I do. And, but I have this app on my phone called Stay Free, and it's like a app restriction. And so I'll turn off social media. I'll turn off these apps during the day so I can't access them. It'd be just funny if you had that for Uber Eats.
well, dude,
You're just like habitually grabbing the phone and clicking Uber Eats, and it's like locked. You're like, no.
it's even worse than that. So like, I delete it. I
you delete
bro.
it.
I delete the app off my phone. I'm like, you don't need this in your fucking life. You're better than this. You're better than this. Literally just the other night before I came here, this is how bad it is, okay? I literally was like, I was having a shitty night, super stressed at work, like a lot of shit was happening. I downloaded the app. I started the order. I got to the checkout page and it was like burgers, fries, like milkshake, ice cream, just like a bunch of garbage, okay? Got to the checkout screen. Looked at it. I'm like, what are you doing, Philip? Get your shit together. Deleted the app. Okay. Again, reinstalled it 20 minutes later.
Oh, man.
Got all the way back to the checkout page again. Added everything for the second time that night. And I'm looking, all I have to do is press the button. And I'm like, Philip, God damn it, get your shit together. Deleted it a second time for the
Wow.
night. Didn't order it, so yeah, proud of myself.
Nice
Didn't
job.
order. But like, dude, it's so dumb. It's like I don't have any addictions really in my life except for just ordering junk food on Uber Eats when I'm feeling shitty.
So interesting how like that we were talking about the mind and the heart. Like it's so interesting how we have those like deep cravings sometimes, and it's almost like someone else is pulling the machine.
Yeah.
You're just like, you're like you snap out of it for a second. What are we doing? And you're like, yeah, we're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's funny when you make that decision to lean into it, you don't give a fuck. You're just
You're like, fuck it, I don't
dude,
give a
like,
fuck.
yeah, dude, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to upsize this fucking burger.
Yeah, supersize me, baby.
So dumb.
Oh,
so
man.
dumb, dude.
Talk to me about the difference between courage and recklessness in the mountains.
I'm sure there'd be lots of people that argue I'm fucking on that line. I mean, I'd like to think that I'm less reckless than I am courageous.
Like, what's the difference between the two? Like, definition wise, like if you were to try to define
if
them.
I had to define it, and this would just be for myself, I think, and obviously I have a biased point of view and you don't know what you don't know. But I think for me, the difference between like courage and recklessness would be, if you're in a situation where it's like scary and, it's run out for whatever reason or you have to push past, you're in a situation where like if something happens, it's going to be really, really bad, but you're still in control and you push through. I think that's courageous. I think it's like you knew you could do the move. You knew you could get to the other side. You just had to like get everything together and make a few moves and get to safety, and you just had to push past this. But if something did happen, it would be like catastrophically bad. Versus, I think reckless would be like you're in a similar situation and you're like 50-50. And you're like, I don't know if I can make this move. if I do this, it might be, like I might fall. It's 50-50. I'm going to try for the move. And if I fall, the example that comes to mind, actually, if you've read like Leo's book, when he's talking about what's the route that he put up, not the Phoenix, but I can't remember. He put up like a 13AR on Leo Holding. Oh, he put up this like 13AR on in Yosemite. I can't remember what it's called. Not the Phoenix. It's called something else. I can't remember. But it's like it looks like a gnarly route. But he talks about like this one move that he did where his like belayer was on like just a shitty fucking piton or something like that. And he had to do this one hard move and he like fully committed to it. And then he like thought, he's like, oh, if I fall, we are both dead. We are both dead. I think that's because he was like unsure if he was going to stick it or not. It was just like blind recklessness versus courage. So I would say like that's probably the line for me. Like if you're in a situation where you're like pretty confident you can make the move.
You're consciously gambling.
Yeah. Yeah, versus like reckless is like you're 50-50. You're like, I might make it, might
Well, no,
not.
I'm saying recklessness would be consciously gambling.
Yeah.
Whereas courage is like, I know the risks, but I know I can commit the move. I can do what's required of me. For me, I've thought about this, and for me, the difference is recklessness is taking on risks that you're unaware of, and courage is knowing the risks in totality and then executing what's required to get through that risk. I think recklessness is like you're putting yourselves in these situations and you're just fucking unaware of the danger that you're actually in, and you're going and doing these things anyway. That seems reckless to me.
Reckless and naive. Yeah. And that is like, I mean, again, that just, you're in a situation where you're like, you don't know what you don't know. I've been in so many situations like early on when I was just like naive and I had no idea what I was doing, that in retrospect, I'm like looking back, I'm like, you are such an idiot. Like, here's a perfect example. We went to go do, this was like, I don't know, 6 years ago or something like that. And this guy that I was talking to, he's like, hey, we should go climb Bourgeois left. And the Avi rating for that day was high, which is like basically don't go, right? And there's a huge Avi zone above Bourgeois left. And he's like, we should go climb this climb. Let me tell you why. I think we should go climb it because an Avi ripped from there just a day ago. So it's cleared out. There's probably nothing above it. And I was like, sure, that sounds good. Like, I trusted him. He had a little bit more experience. It sounded like rational thinking. We went and climbed it. We got off. Nothing happened. Luckily, knock on wood. And then I made a post about it and was like, yeah, we climbed Bourgeois left. And we got absolutely like shredded on the Facebook page with like good merit. And then I was like reading all the comments after and I was like, oh my God, we are such idiots, right? And then after the fact, I've thought about that over the last couple of years, like, what was I thinking? Like, what was I doing up there? There's days when I might not even go up there if it's like low, just because it like gets blasted with sun. And there's a huge slope up there. So it's just like, was I reckless in that scenario? I think I was more naive than reckless. I think I just like didn't know. I think I was just like, I don't know what you would call that, like an idiot.
Yeah. It's funny, recklessness is almost determined in retrospect. It's like you have to look back on it and realize like that you were being reckless. I guess I can't relate to like blatantly putting myself in tremendous danger on purpose. Like your example, like, do I make this move and I make it and I survive and I make it and I die, or I don't make it and I die? Like, I don't think I've ever put myself in that situation. Or have you come across that situation where you're like, if I don't make it, I die, and then you back off?
And then I back off,
or choose to go forward,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just 2 weeks ago, I guess on Sacre, like on the crux of it, there was like kind of like overhanging and like chandelier-y, and I was like, oh, this is like real climbing.
When you were soloing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And even in that moment, I was like, oh, should I keep going or should I not?
But your confidence in your movement was starting to get questioned?
Yeah, I was like, dude, it was like a pretty real crux, like for sure. It was like definitely like, oh yeah, this is like real climbing now, like 100 meters off the deck. And it was definitely one of those scenarios. And you had like, there was some like snow, you kind of had to hook, and some like aerated ice, you kind of had to like hook to get up it. So it wasn't like, oh, this is absolutely 100% bomber. It was kind of like, okay, I think this is pretty good, but you're not 100%. You're like back down to, let's say, 90%, for example, right? You're like, this is probably, 95% or something like that. You're like, this is absolutely probably good, but you're not at that like 100% ratio, where usually you're sitting, So there is that like margin where you're like, I'm pretty sure, but there's a small possibility that it's still there. And then you still need to like actively think about it and be like, oh, do I move forward? And do I go through it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild. I think that's probably the situation a soloist runs into quite often. I don't do much soloing, so yeah, to have that real consequence of like,
Yeah.
if you fuck up, you die. It's not like, oh, you fuck up and I'm gonna take a scary whip and hopefully my gear holds. It's like, no, you die. Like, yeah, that's pretty.
It's not like I don't love being there like too often, like usually when I solo, I want to feel it 100%, right? Like I want to feel like I'm just having fun. Like I'm just like cruising around, having fun in the mountains, having like that spiritual bucket, being filled. I don't love being in like that, like I want to be in 100% the whole time. Like that's like fun time for me, But yeah, sometimes, it goes down to that like 95. In order to get back to the spot where it's 100, you got to kind of push through that 95. So you get into like a few of those circumstances, but more or less, and maybe for me, I could just, that's more experience in the mountains, more experience ice climbing, getting stronger, getting more fit, and then I could bring that 95 to 100 potentially. But then there's still also the variability of the ice, which, could be good, could be bad. So maybe there's, no matter how fit or strong or confident I am, there's always going to be a little percentage there. But no, ideally, I just want to cruise around in the mountains and have fun. Like that's the spiritual bucket for me. I don't want to be like cranking hard 50-50 moves without a rope. Like that's not what I want to do. That's not super fun. Like that is not what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
Let's be real for a second. The blueprint for a successful climbing podcast is simple. Interview the most famous climbers in the world. Big names mean big followings, lots of SEO power, and a built-in audience that helps promote every episode. But this show has never been about that. From the beginning, it has been my mission to bring you stories from the climbing majority. The climbers who don't live in the limelight. The ones who quietly put up routes, build communities, and help give back in ways that are rarely recognized. And while that's what makes this show special, it also means we have an uphill battle when it comes to growth. And that is where you come in. If you believe in the show, if you've been fired up, inspired by an episode, word of mouth is the single most powerful way to help the show. Share an episode with a friend. Post about us on social media. Jump onto Reddit threads and Mountain Project forums and tell people what you've been listening to. Also, I am on a mission to beat Climbing Gold's Spotify review count. If you haven't already left this show a review, please head on over to Spotify to give this show 5 stars. We only have 1,000 more ratings to go.
Do you experience flow state?
Yo, yeah, for sure.
Talk to me about that experience to you, and like how quickly can you access it? Like, is there a buffer to turn it on? Do you have rituals to try to get yourself there?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like I only became aware of flow state maybe like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. And I think, we had a conversation after. I kind of knew of it a little bit. People had talked about it, but I think that was like the time that I directly related it to climbing. And it was when I climbed a climb called Rainbow Serpent. And it was like maybe my second year of ice climbing or something like that. And it was like a hard WI6. And me and my friend went out there, and like we went out there the first time, and like you have to climb one long pitch of WI4 and you get into this amphitheater, and then there's 2 pitches of WI6, and it's like pretty real. And we got there the first time, and like we looked at it, and we like tried to go up a little bit. We hummed and hawed and came down and went back up and came down. We're just like, no, I'm not leading it. Are you leading it? No, I'm not leading it. And then we backed off and laughed. And then we came back. Like literally, it's so funny. Literally, as we're driving out, I'm like, we have to come back. And he's like, for what, dude? Like, I'm just like, no, we can do it, man. We just gotta like get our headspace together. We can do it. The problem is no one agreed to what pitch they were gonna do. We need to just settle on the pitch. You do P1, I do P2, and that's how it's gonna be. We just need to commit to it. So then we came back a second time, and luckily the second time, there was some other climbers that caught up to us, and they were like some crusher European climbers, like some savages. Like they walked up everything and then just like left. They did Fearful as well. Fearful Symmetry was in that year, which is also there. And I think having them there kind of gave us that little like, you can't just like get up there and be like, actually, I'm kind of scared. Never mind, we're just gonna leave. Can you drop a rope down? So I think having them there was like really good. But it was like way at our limit, like way over our limit, probably for sure over our limit. And he did P1, and then P2 was like the kind of like hard cruxy one, 6 or whatever. And it's just like overhanging. I'm going like section after section. And I lost track of time, like totally lost track. I was just like doing one move after another move after another move. And the Europeans, like they climbed the route next to me and then came on this one and climbed this one and wrapped down the time that they were just like crushers, right? But for me, I think it took me like a long time to lead that pitch because I was like fighting for this was over my limit. And but I like lost all sense of like time and everything, and I was just like so into it. I was dialed in. I was just like taking it one step at a time and moving forward. And then we talked about it after on the drive home, and I was like, yeah, man, I just like, how long was I up there? And he's like, oh, you were there for like an hour. And I was like, dude, it felt like 10 minutes. Like I was just like locked in. So that was the first time I like really related it to climbing. But now like getting into it, I feel like I've like now even like I thought about it yesterday, right? Like even that little 5/8, like you did the first 5/8 pitch, right? And I was like at the bottom, I'm faffing, I'm laughing, joking about, and okay, put my shoes on, and and how do I put my gloves on? I feel like at this point now, I have the ability to just like as soon as I leave the ground, I can flip a switch, and I'm just dialed. And I don't know how you learn that or what you do. I think there's something to do with like focusing so intently on your movement puts you in that state. And so it's like as soon as it's like maybe there's some like little rituals, that you do, like chalking up, for example, or for ice climbing, I'll like do like shoulder rotation. So I'm like flapping my arms like this. But actually someone else said that as well. This was like years ago. I went to go climb hydrophobia, and I had 2 friends there the whole time. We're just laughing and faffing and having a good time, and like it's all good, and putting the screws on, we're all laughing. And then it was like as soon as we got to the base of the climb, like all of a sudden like my mood just like shifted, and it was like, Kate, you're locked in. Kate, tied, rope, Kate, boom, done. Kate, go, bye. And the guy commented after, he was like, dude, he's like, what the fuck just he's like, bro, you went from like a 6-year-old child laughing on the walk-in to like a grown man, like laser focused on something. So it's just like I feel like now at this point, maybe I just trained it, or maybe it's happened naturally. I'm not sure, but it's just like a switch, and it flips, and I get on, and it just like immediately it gets there.
Yeah, I'm similar. I can turn it on really quick. I had like earlier stages of my climbing when I was doing trad, or like these multi-pitch lines where I was breaking my limit. I would like black out.
Yeah.
Like I would like get through a crux and I get to the anchor, and I'm like somebody like, hey, how'd you get through that? I'm like,
I don't even know.
I don't remember. Don't remember. Like you're so present and so intensely focused that your brain doesn't fucking have time to like batch it into its memory.
Totally.
And I don't experience that as often anymore, because it's like the level of novelty is so high that like there's that aspect to it now, or back then. But now, like, yeah, I mean, as of yesterday, like the crux pitch that I led on Cloud Tower, like yeah, it's just like you fucking just lock in. There's something there, and then once you get into that movement and everything, it's just like time disappears and you're just so absorbed by everything. I think for me, the more data I have to process, the better flow state I get into.
Yep.
Like that's why I love trad so much, because it's like you're not just climbing, it's the gear, it's the position, it's like the risk management. It's like your brain is just fucking churning through all these fucking circumstances and projection models and like trying to process all this data, and it's just like you have no time to think about anything else. Like and I think that being able to access that kind of flow state quickly is such a superpower in climbing. Like how better to complete a task than having full fucking attention on it. Like that's how you do things well. And that translates to workflow, like the ability to keep yourself from being distracted. And I think that also to like back to this whole thing where we're constantly distracted with social media and with ads and like life, it's all very chaotic. Climbing gives you, it's like manufacturing that environment to just be present. Like, and you don't have a choice. I love it so much.
And I think like just expand on that a little bit, just with like flow state. I think as you progress in climbing, you get more confident, you get stronger, you get more comfortable. So your need to like access the like deep flow state diminishes, right? Like you can kind of walk up like, some pitches of 5'8", 5'9", you're just like, like having a fun time. And you're like still talking to your player. Like even, the 10C pitch that I had, I was at the roof and I was like, what do you think? Should I put the piece here? Should I put it there? Should I extend this? Should I do that? You know what I mean? I was just like pretty comfortable in the moment. I didn't need to like access this, like I am locked in state. So I think that's why, you keep chasing more and more because you want to access that like deep flow state where you need to access like the deepest part of your mind and have that pure focus where you're like, I am right at my limit, and you like black out because you're like, I'm right there. I need to be so ultra focused on it. And like, unfortunately, yeah, the more experience you get, the less you need that really deep state, and you can kind of like, yeah, I'm just cruising around having fun. I can talk to my player, take a phone call, like, so I think you like keep kind of chasing that. And maybe then going back to Yamnuska, maybe that's like some of the reasons why I like go back to Yam so much and I love it so much, because there's so many things that you need to there's so many data points that like, and you also use like double ropes on Yam all the time, right? Like that's like
clipping here.
Yeah, so it's like, do I put that there? Like it's like, what gear do I put? Where do I put it? Do I extend it? Where do I extend it? Do I clip this one? Do I clip that one? Am I going right? Am I going left? Is this block gonna fall down on my belayer? Like there's so much data that you need to process, which maybe for like some people listening, they're probably like, that sounds like a fucking nightmare. But I think for like you and me, like all those data points coming at you forces you to just like tunnel vision, narrow focus, and get into that deep flow state to be like, I need to focus on this. So I think you need to, as like climbers that keep progressing, you need to keep pushing this state further and further to be able to like require the need to access that deep flow state.
Another type of the flow state I experienced recently, I did what I coined, someone's probably already done it. I just coined it the big brownstone bash. I linked Mr. Z to Armatron, walked down, did sweet thin, walked down, and then did Nightcrawler.
Oh, hell yeah,
all in a day.
Nice.
3,000 feet of climbing.
That's amazing.
And so
cool.
like that, the endurance flow state. Like
yeah.
I remember when I did Mr. Z, did Armatron, did sweet thin, and I was like following up the first pitch of Nightcrawler. And I remember just like busting out laughing, like this mid pitch. I just like, dude, I feel like I'm walking down a street right now. Like it just felt like I was walking down a fucking sidewalk. Like it didn't feel like I was climbing anymore. Like I was so numb and so like in that endurance flow state that like, the whole situation became a little surreal. And like my body was just kind of like moving. And I wasn't even thinking about it. It was just like, whoa, my arms are moving. Like I was able to like witness the whole thing in this weird third perspective. I was just like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like I'm so comfortable. Yeah. It was really cool.
I'm sure there's probably like, because I don't do a ton of like, I do like some trail running and things like that, but I'm sure there's a lot of like endurance, like ultra runners and endurance athletes that are probably like, yeah, of fucking course, that's what happens. Why do you think we run 100 miles, you idiot? Yeah. But I bet you, that's a really, I never thought about that, but there's not only like the, danger and rock, there's not only that, but yeah, you can get it from endurance as well. Like just thinking when me and Kaylee did Polar Circus, like that was an easy climb, all things considered, but that was just like all day. It was like crank. That I was also in a flow state that day, even though it was easy climbing. It was like not rush, but like efficiency was a top priority because of the danger overhead. And then, because of that, it was like everything was just like ding, 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 ding. And I kind of had like, it's not like I was walking, but it all did feel kind of just like surreal going through it, and definitely a little bit of a flow state through that. So it's not only, you don't only have to have danger
exactly.
to push those flow states.
Sometimes it's just volume.
With endurance, you could definitely have that too. So yeah, maybe I should do some more endurance. That'd be sweet.
Dude, the endurance thing is big. Tanner Wanish definitely inspired me a little bit with his triple and then the quad. Like how much stone can I cover in a fucking single push? Like that is cool. Like it's not hard. I mean, it's like 5'7", 5'9", 5'9", and then like we capped it with Nightcrawler, but still like in it, like Mr. Z by itself, for me, not really something I would do. But add 4 other climbs at that grade and like, okay, how fast can we do it? Like we did Mr. Z in 30 minutes.
Yeah,
like, we simuled Armatron in 1 pitch.
Yep.
And so it's like doing that, like that, exploring that kind of realm of climbing. It's like, okay, so sure, you can climb 5'11" now, but how fast can you cover 5'8"? How fast can you cover 5.7? How much ground can you cover? How efficient are you? Like that's a whole other realm of climbing that's really, really fun.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of endurance climbing, but not a ton. And I think I would absolutely, yeah, I think dude, you inspired me now. I'm gonna go back to Canada. I'm gonna find some like link ups that I could do. I'm gonna crank some link ups, some yam link ups.
There you go. Hell yeah.
Yeah, do yam 4 times in a day or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be sweet, man.
It's fun, man. It's
Yeah.
super fun. Let's pivot here. So, we talked a little bit about like diversifying our life, right? Like work, climbing, you got to have other things. How have you created a life around climbing? What is your other things? Like, what's your work? How do you fund your life? What's the part we don't usually hear about?
Yeah. So for work, I've been in the insurance industry for like 11 years now, since 2014. So like, yeah, even before I started climbing. And then, so just like regular like life and health insurance, just like insurance broker. And then in 2020, I guess, like 2021, that's kind of when I pivoted a little bit and built a little bit of an insurance brand around like getting insurance for climbers. So like special type of life insurance that will cover climbers, accident insurance that will cover climbers. And I would say that probably makes up like 60% of that business for the insurance brokerage side, which is great. I mean, it's like, it's really fun to like have conversations about insurance with climbers because it's really fun to just talk to climbers, right? Yeah. And I understand the language, so like when climbers will ask me, they'll be like, well, like, is this covered? And I'll be like, I can unequivocally say like, oh, yes, this is covered. Here's other things it covers. I understand what you're talking about. Yes, you're talking about trad. Yeah, you're talking about traveling. You're talking about, this grade, whatever it is. I understand all that. And I think it's just like also, one, like I have all the products myself and I've read through them all myself because I'm also that demographic. And then two, it's like fun to market that business because I can create climbing content and then push that business forward with climbing content. So that's been a lot of fun. I've done kind of more of a climber focus since about 2021. And then just to further expand, I guess, on this. So I've been in the insurance industry since 2014. In 2024, we launched like a software company that is basically a software that we license to other insurance brokers. And that's been probably like a big part of my focus now. I'd probably say like 80% of my focus is on building that company. So the production or just like, yeah, the insurance brokerage is a little bit taking like a back seat right now. It's still operating. We still get like, tons of clients and leads come in. We're partnered with the Alpine Club of Canada, the Association of Canadian Mountain Guides, TABVAR, Mountain Muskox, which are all like some Canadian climbing associations. So those are all really good partnerships, and we renew them every single year. They're amazing for us. But long term, like what I think, like I've been selling insurance since like 2014, and it's like it's fine, but like it doesn't. I'm not like super psyched on it anymore. I've been able to build a business that affords my lifestyle, and while I've definitely enjoyed it, and it's been great for me, I'm more enjoy like building businesses. I enjoy building systems and building processes and managing teams, whereas the insurance brokerage is more like, I do some of that, but then I am the guy that's having these conversations. I'm, not really a business, but more like a, personal service business. I'm more like one individual. So I've been super psyched on the software company because now it's like, we have a vision to like, hey, how can we scale this from like, we're at 5 employees right now. How can we scale this to 10 employees and then 15 and then 50? And then how can we build this, to a large company in Canada? So yeah, I'm excited about that. I still have the insurance brokerage, and I think long-term, I really enjoy working with the climbing community. And I think like I am one of the only, if not the only company in Canada that like specializes. And I don't know if there's one in the USA that really is like, hey, we are the insurance brokerage for climbers. I'm not really sure if there is one. But there's very few people that like are as knowledgeable about both aspects as I am, like climbing and insurance, right? So I think I have like a unique perspective that I can bring and also a lot of expertise to it. And I think it's like super important for climbers to get insurance, especially if you have families, if you're married, if you have kids. Like the amount of times that I like run into situations where I like talk to, like, listen, dude, if you're a single guy living in a van and you have like no responsibilities, and it's like, not saying if you pass away nothing's gonna happen, obviously there's like the emotional impact, but like, financially your mom and dad are gonna be fine, you know what I mean? But if you're married and you have fucking kids, and this happens, like I get people come to me and they're like married with kids and they've been like rock climbing and ice climbing and alpine climbing, and they don't have insurance. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Right? Like, dude, you have a family. Like, and you're the breadwinner in the family. Like, if you pass away, which is a real possibility that can happen. One of the most like chilling stories that, and like, what can you do? Like, this is what it is. But one of the most chilling stories that I had. So I've paid out claims on the insurance side. Unfortunately, like I have had clients pass away from climbing accidents. But I remember I had one guy come to me and he came to me. He's like, hey, can I get a quote for insurance? And I'm like, yep, it's going to be whatever, $80 a month or something like that. And he was like, so it's a little bit pricey. I don't think I can afford it. And I was like, okay, I'm not here to convince you one way or the other. Like, I'm not the type of salesman that's like, well, actually, you need to, like, I'm just not that guy. You know, I'm more like, well, here's your options. You can take any of these or leave them. Like, I'm not gonna hard sell you. Like, this isn't the States. This is Canada, right? We're nice down there. We don't care. Anyway, so he came to me and he like looked at the options, determined that it was too expensive for him for whatever reason. He was married with a newborn, I want to say, daughter. Okay. And he was a guide, in the community. And it was like 3 months later and he was in Nepal and an avalanche came down and killed him. He's dead. And I remember like seeing that and being like, wait a second, that name looks familiar. And then I looked back in my file and I was like, oh yeah, I had a conversation with him 3 months ago. And then I saw like, his wife like tried to get a GoFundMe together for like 25 grand or something like that just to help out. Now she's got to like take care of her daughter, for like next 18 or 20 years. Like she's not really working. Like I don't know what they're going to do. Right. So it's just like, you see those situations and you're just like, what are you fucking doing? Right. Like don't think about it for 1 second, we want to think that nothing bad is going to happen to us, but it's a very real possibility that something bad can happen in the mountains and you need to be prepared one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. Not only just for yourself, but for your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like a little bit morbid and I hope it's okay that I share, but I feel like if I'm going to die in the mountains, it would be like something where I like have time to think about it, like that's just like,
you want to think about
no.
Oh.
No, like I feel like it wouldn't be instant. Right?
But you're saying if
I died in the mountains,
you're probably going to have time to think about it.
I'm probably going to have time to think about it. Maybe I would like fall and, I'd be dying in like a crevasse or something like that. Or I'd be
broken
like
femur on the bottom of the fucking ice pitch.
Something like that where I'm like dying, but I have time to think about it. And I think for me, like, because I obviously bought a whole bunch of life insurance myself and like I have financial responsibilities and people that rely upon me. And so for me, it was just like, the thought was like, well, if I die, like if something happened in the mountains and I was just like, whatever, lying on the glacier, knowing that I was going to die and I had time to think about it, at least I'd be like, okay, I'm not leaving I would have a little bit of peace about it. Like I'm not leaving a huge fucking mess behind for my family. Like, obviously this sucks and I like don't want to, but I think of that, like I think about it like that would be just like a little bit of peace that I could have, as I'm dying.
I just gave the people that supported me like a huge amount of cash.
Yeah, and like they'll be able to figure out all like the financial things, the funeral arrangements, like everything. It's just all covered, right? So then they can like process grieving and not process like, okay, how are we going to deal with all this money situation? How are we going to figure out, X, Y, and Z? So it's just like allows them to be able to grieve without an additional stress upon their life. So that's the way that I think about it.
It's a good perspective.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit morbid, obviously, but it's a morbid industry.
Well, it's a morbid industry, but I think it's important to be honest with ourselves about the fact that we could die in the mountains. Like, I think it's too easy to just be like, oh, it'll never happen.
Yeah.
Like, I think taking the time to actually like process your own mortality and like be real about that is important.
Which is a hard thing to do. Like I think especially if you had like kids, I think it would be a really hard thing to accept the fact that you're still willing and choosing to put yourself in situations. Like I think like almost like the like getting life insurance in place is then like admitting that you are doing something slightly dangerous while you still have a family at home. So it's almost like if you don't buy life insurance, you haven't admitted that you could. And in which case it's totally fine. You know what I mean? So there might be something there where people are just like, well, no, it's not dangerous at all. Actually, I'm super safe and I never, I don't run out anything and I don't go on Yam like this fucking psycho Phil, but like it happens to regular people. Like, I mean, even in Greece, like what just happened a month ago or 3 weeks ago, where just the bolts failed. Like you're putting yourself in situations where it's not 100%. No matter how safe, no matter if it's like only sport climbing or you always put in gear. Or like rockfall could come from above, could be environmental, could be nature, could be something with your partner. Like something could happen. You could tie in wrong, right? Like even on the safest of climbs, things can still go wrong.
I think there's this interesting psychology of where like, I'll use a med kit as an example. Bring a med kit, and now all of a sudden you might believe that like things might happen. Be prepared for the unexpected, and the unexpected will happen. But if you're not prepared for the unexpected, it just might not happen.
Yeah, and I don't bring a med kit.
I don't either. I think you and I both like play that line a little bit.
For sure we do. Yeah.
I think it's this. I mean, it's the same thing. It's like, it's this. I could like translate that to like being secured in your movement. Like, if you are in control of your movement and you're in control of your safety system, like that's like your first line of defense. It's like, just don't let something fucked up happen. You know, like
if you just never let go, you'll never fall.
Yeah, it's like you can mitigate a lot of fuckery by like being avoiding it in the first place. Because like, yeah, I don't know, like I don't want to have to fucking go through a rescue. I don't want to have to fucking deal with a broken limb on the climb. Like I want to do everything in my power to prevent that from happening.
For sure.
Rather than like maybe being prepared for it to happen and then maybe being a little more laxed, or you know, that weird psychological switch in your head where you're like, yeah, okay, like I'm prepared if it happens, and then you accept it a little bit more.
So maybe I'm onto something with the life insurance. It's almost like if you buy it, you know?
Yeah, if you buy Phil's insurance, you might die.
You might die. If you don't buy it, you will never die.
Obviously completely illogical, but
he totally did.
Yeah, the brain is a funny place.
I love that. That's hilarious.
Before we get back to it, if you've been listening to the show, you probably know how much time and effort and love I put into this project. The research, the conversations, the production, the editing, all of it. And while it might seem like I've got a team of people on this project, I don't. It's just me. And even with sponsors, I spend a large amount of my own personal money on this project simply because I love it. If you're a listener that's looking for a way to give back to this show in a meaningful way, please become a Patreon subscriber. Once you become a supporting member of the Climbing Majority, not only will you feel really good about yourself, but you'll also get access to the ad-free version of the show and exclusive content. If this speaks to you, click the link in the description or go to patreon.com/theclimbingmajoritypodcast to become a supporting member of the show today.
So like launching businesses.
Yeah. Oh, dude, now we're getting into it.
I think that like the cliche thing is like the concept of like failing to the top, make mistakes. Like if you know, how many successful business people have you talked to? Like how many failed attempts have they had? Like usually a lot. It's not like a one success kind of thing. So my pivot here is to talk about the word failure. Where have you like failed in your life? Like it doesn't have to be business related. It could be personal, but like I'll share mine. I tried to answer this question for myself before asking you, obviously.
Yeah.
And
you've had time to think about it.
I don't think I've really failed that much. I feel like I've been lucky enough to where like if I try something, I don't know whether it's my process and how I approach it, or whether it's because the vision I have is so crystal clear. Like I haven't, or maybe I'm not taking enough risk. Like maybe I'm not putting myself in a position where failure is like that possible, and I've been playing it safe too much. But like, I'd say like my biggest example is like just investment. Like I have completely failed at any sort of trading or investment. Like I've done nothing but lose money. And so like, I mean, if I think of like a concrete word of failure, like I have fucking failed doing that. I've lost thousands of dollars, like just lit money on fire. And like, yeah, I mean, it's like, it's rough. And like, I haven't really learned too much about it. Cause I failed once, got burned. I was like, okay, I learned, like now I know not what to do, got back in, failed again. And I was like, well, I learned another lesson this time. It's like, 'cause I learned 2 lessons. They both cost me a bunch of money. And it's like, well, do I step forward again and like go down this road again? Or it's like, or do I just back off and like, maybe this isn't for me, you know? So like that's kind of like where I had expectations of myself. I had goals that I tried to meet and I didn't meet them. And I just fucking flat out failed and like had to go back to ground zero.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I mean, one, that's sorry to hear that happen. But I think failure is such like a strong word. Like failure, it seems like it's like, I tried to run 5 kilometers and I got to 4 kilometers and I couldn't do it anymore. And I walked off and it's like ultimate failure, right? But it's like hard to define. There's been so many things that I've done in both business as well as in, climbing and things that like, I don't know if you would call them failures. I don't know if they're complete failures because from each and every single one of those things, I've been able to like learn something from it and then move forward. And I mean, just like a small example, like, I don't know if you'd call this a failure or not, but just like I guess you could call it a failure, right? But then I've like learned from it and pushed past. Like, I don't know if I've had any like ultimate failures where it's like to the point it's like dead end of the road. Like I think a failure would be like, yeah, you ran 4 kilometers and then you never ran another kilometer in your life. You're like, I can't do this. 5 kilometers is too hard. Like that would be an ultimate failure. But I think, trying something, it not working out, and then pivoting to something else. Would you call that a failure? I don't.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I don't think you would.
So I have this line here. It's when you feel like you earned it, you feel like you deserve it, and you still don't get it. Like that's like a recipe for failure because it's like I worked for it. I did my homework. I trained. Whatever that I did to complete this goal. I feel like I deserve it. Like I've done what I'm supposed to do. I'm in the right position. I know the right people. Whatever it is, whether it's a job and it still fucking doesn't work.
Yeah,
that is like big failure. That's failing, right?
What I mean,
and it's usually because we fucking did something wrong that we weren't we weren't privy to. At least that's how I like to see it. I like to think that I'm the reason why things good or bad happen to me. It's a sense of ownership. Like I don't ever, whether it's true or not, I don't ever want to just like blame circumstances either for my good fortune or my bad luck. And so failure to me is always my fault. Whether or not like, someone was a better candidate for a job, or I don't know, you could just come up with all these different things. But in the end, in my brain, it's something you missed. It's something you didn't do, something you were blind to, and just means you're not ready to be who you were trying to be, or you're not ready to achieve what you were trying to achieve.
Yeah, I think that's just going back. I think that's like it's a harsh word. Like failure.
Yeah,
it's like, it kind of seems like a dead end of the road. I don't know if I would say that I've definitely not succeeded at a lot of things in life, but I feel like there's like a saying, it's like you'll never fail if you don't give up or something like that. There's like a saying like that. I mean, like a perfect example, and I'll just share this real quick, is like my software company that I launched. So we began development in 2024. We launched a product in 2025 that I had invested like a ton of money into, got it off the ground, did a whole bunch of marketing, did this huge launch, had so much interest in the beginning. And I just missed the mark. Like I didn't do enough market research. I didn't talk to enough people. I didn't think about it deeply enough. I mean, hindsight is always a perfect 2020, but our like first version that we launched with that I thought would be applicable to like a wide audience of insurance brokers in Canada was actually only applicable for like a super, very, very narrow subset, like 0.01% of the actual market. And so it just flopped, right? Like I spent all this time, all this money, all of this effort, all of these meetings, everything, and it was just like imploded on itself. We had a whole bunch of signups and then people canceled, they weren't using it. And it was just kind of like, oh, that was, so I don't even think of it as a failure. I think of it like as a learning experience. But for all intent, you could look at that and be like, no, that was a failure, Phil. You spent like how much money and you've gotten how much, like for all intents and purposes, I've lost so much money on that, right? However, from that process, I had 300 conversations with brokers and talked to a ton of them and got a lot of market feedback and figured out, okay, this product is very suitable for this one very specific subset. But now in talking with these other 300, I can see we can expand the scope just a little bit, and now it's going to be applicable for this amount, right? So right now, actually, we're just in the process of like developing, what I'll call like version 2 of our software, which I think, knock on wood, is now much more applicable for a wider user base. And I guess like, if that one fails as well, then, maybe you're right. Maybe that is a total failure, but I don't even look at this like, first thing as a failure. It was just like a stepping stone. It didn't get to the expectations that I thought it was going to get to, but it was a stepping stone, which is going to lead me to the next one, and which hopefully will lead me to the next one and the next one to the next one. So I can't even remember what your original question was, but I don't think that those would be considered failures. I think they're just stepping stones to lead you to where you're trying to get to.
Yeah. So this brings up two interesting points. Like one, maybe failure is not in the eye of like yourself, but failure is actually in the eye of someone viewing you, like, describing your situation, like, oh, that's a failure, but to you, it's not. So maybe it's like that third person aspect. Or failure is when you reach a learning experience and then choose not to learn from it and choose to quit instead. Failure is quitting. It's the end of the road. It's where you reached adversity and it's just too much for me. And I think that's why both of us were probably similar in this way. When we were asked the question, we both stuck for a minute. It's like, well, we haven't really failed because we've never let something like that just like stop it in the road, or we never quit on those things. That's why I use the trading example, is because
because you quit trading.
I'm about to quit. Like I'm about to quit. Like I don't really know what the next lesson is, and I'm not willing to like dedicate all this time to sit in front of the screen and try to be a better trader. It's like I failed at that, and maybe that's okay. And maybe I just don't need to be a trader.
Yeah, I think like maybe a different way you can phrase it is like you didn't fail, but you quit at it. And I think like healthy quitting is important as well. So there's a really good book by Seth Godin called The Dip, and it talks about basically like the framework for how you succeed at anything goes like, and I'm going to try and draw this out, but it goes like up like this, and then it goes down into the dip, and then eventually it skyrockets, right? So when we first start anything new that we're doing, whether it's anything new, climbing or a business or social media or anything, it's super exciting. We're like, oh my God, I'm going to start an Instagram page. Like you, for example, like the podcast, right? Actually, the podcast is a perfect example.
It's funny. You did this.
And you thought of the podcast.
And like, if you go look at my chart, that's exactly what it did.
Dude, that's amazing. So okay,
literally what it did.
Let me break into this. So this part right here is like your initial excitement. Everything is new and exciting and you're stoked. And any feedback that you get is amazing. You're like, one person watched my fucking podcast. Dude, I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow. This is awesome. I love this. And eventually, though, all that excitement for starting something will die. And then you get into this chasm.
It will die.
It will die. You get in this chasm, of despair, where basically you're now realizing how much work it's going to take to get to where you thought you were going to be very quickly. And you realize how much effort you need to put into it. And maybe viewership goes down. Maybe you get negative feedback. Maybe you're just like, oh my God, this is like if you're investing, for example, you're like, oh, I lost money. Oh, this is like, how much effort do I need to put in to get to here? And most people in this dip period will quit. Right? That's why, even from a marketing point of view, like a realtor or insurance broker or anyone, that's doing a business, they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to launch like how I'm going to do marketing is Instagram. And you see they start an Instagram page, like I'm a realtor now and I'm here's my open house sign and and then like 2 months will go by and their account is just done, right? Big excitement. They see how much work they need to put in, they quit, right? And then, of course, what do? They go to YouTube now. They make a few YouTube videos, and oh my God, this is so exciting. And then they're back in the dip. And most people just bounce from one thing to another if it doesn't work, even from like a training point of view, from a climbing point of view. They're like, I'm going to do hangboarding every single week, and that's going to be my thing. And then they do like a few weeks of hangboarding, and they go to the gym, like, oh my God, I still only climb 5'10". I'm not doing any more hangboarding. This is bullshit, right? But you just have to stay consistent through that dip. And going to your podcast is like, you were in that dip, and you, like, when Max quit the show, and that was like a major period in the dip where you could have so easily shut the podcast down. You could have been like, man, where is this going? The effort to get it to where it's going to be is so much. I have to do everything on my own now. This is so much work. What am I doing? Why am I wasting my time? But instead, you're like, no, I'm going to push through and I'm going to get to this point. And I feel like, you're definitely at that point now, and you're even now on an upward trajectory. So it just keeps getting better and better. But realizing you're in that dip and trying to get through it can be incredibly difficult. But if you get through, it's rewarding. However, one thing that I'll add here is it's okay to be in that dip and then realize, or even before you start the journey, realizing I don't know if I want to go through this and continue to grind out this chasm to try and get there. Maybe it's not worth it. So going back to your investing story, what would it take for you to be a successful investor? Right? I don't know, watching YouTube videos on investing 3 hours a night. Do you really want to put in that effort? Versus dude, just put in an index fund, get happy with 8% returns and just turn your fucking brain off. Right? So it's okay to be in a situation where you determine okay, the effort required to get to this point up here is going to be more than I'm willing to put in. And if you're not 100% committed at being the best at it, don't even start. Don't even start. Don't half-ass it. Don't waste your time. Just quit. You've already committed to being the best podcaster. You don't need to be the best investor. You go to fucking Wealthsimple or something like that, put it in the ETF and turn your brain off, dude, and just, be happy with that. And I think it's really hard for people to oh, but I want to be good at everything and try it. Pick the things that you want to be the best at and be the best at those, and other things that are detracting and taking away from those things, just quit. Right? And it's not a failure.
Yeah. Healthy quitting.
Healthy quitting.
I like that. It's hard. I think you spot on in the fact that you can't do everything.
Dude, you fucking
as much as we'd love to.
Yeah.
You can't. You just don't have the time for it. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. We talked this a little bit on the approach yesterday. What do you think is more important, a good idea or consistency?
Oh yeah, we did talk about that. And I told you the time, I'll tell you again. It's 100% consistency. Yep. And actually, this goes perfectly into the dip story, into the dip framework, right? It's consistency that brings you out of the dip, and you're on episode 130 now or 140 of the podcast. You just keep doing it. Taking Joe Rogan's podcast, for example, no one watched his podcast for years, dude. He was just some random MMA dude, putting out weird videos, but he's on 3,000 now or something like that. It's something ridiculous. So there's so many good ideas that fail all the time. Good ideas are a dime a dozen, but if you're consistent with anything you can do in life, and you also, get better and learn and adapt and evolve and perfect it. Obviously that, you need to do that as well. But you get that through consistency. You learn that through consistency. You don't learn by just studying how to do a pod. You can't just study how to do a podcast for years, right? And then, okay, now I'm going to launch you have to do it. You have to remain consistent. And
retard
maxing. Through that process, you learn it. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, for sure, consistency.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that people definitely get harped on I have to have a good idea first. I have to have a good idea first. I think the thing that you don't know is that maybe you start out with a not so great idea, but the thing about the consistency is linked to time. And so as you take consistency and apply it to a not so great idea, what does time give you? Time gives you the chance to change this idea, and it gives you feedback on what's not working. Like this example with your software company. Sure, you could have had a better idea up front.
Yeah.
But how the hell are you going to know without data points?
Yeah.
And so consistency gives you more data points and allows you to be fluid with what that idea kind of is. And then you can change, and you're still building this momentum with consistency. So be okay with being fluid about what the idea actually is, but just be committed towards putting effort towards it every day.
And you can't, hindsight is a perfect 2020, man. You do not get those data points without actually just doing it. You just need to start. You just need to throw spaghetti at the wall, and see what sticks. You have no idea. Even this podcast, how much have you learned by just going through the episodes? Oh my God, I can't put the camera here. Can't do this. Can't do that. Even this, you're probably going to learn AM lighting and how that affects the podcast. And now you're going to know for next time. And you would never know that if you didn't do it. So,
and you have to be okay with not being perfect.
For sure. Progress over perfection.
If you watch the development of my show, in the beginning, you'll see the progression, and that's literally just a timestamp of where I was in my skill set at the time. And you have to be okay with being public about that. Like, you be okay with where you are, and just be okay knowing that you're going to make incremental improvements over time, and just be self-aware enough to be honest with yourself. Like, I edit every single one of these episodes, and I have to listen to myself talk for hours.
Yeah.
And so it's like, sometimes it's fucking cringe. And I was like, God damn, Kyle, like,
Would you just shut the fuck
shut
up?
the
guy?
fuck up. And like, I'll just chop out sections of my talking. And I'll chop out sections of my guest talking sometimes, where it's just like, that was too much. Like, I spent 5 minutes explaining the question and then 2 seconds asking the question. Just ask the question. You know what I mean? And so like, you learn, and you just have to be okay, like, realizing that you're not perfect, and just like, be okay with the progress.
Yes. That's actually, that's literally a statement that is on my whiteboard in my office. Progress over perfection.
Nice.
Yep.
Love that. Last one here before we wrap this up.
Dude, it's been a good podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I've
been having fun.
Yeah, me too.
There's a quote here. I forget who says it. Success is loving what you do every day, regardless of the specific outcomes. And I kind of added to this quote by saying that this mentality is a choice. And so it's like, it's our job to define what success means from person to person. And I think I resonate with this definition of success, of just like loving what you do every day, regardless of how it actually ends up turning out. It's like prioritizing the experience over the outcome. Like with this podcast, like the outcome is very uncertain. I have no idea if I'm going to be able to turn this into something where I can step away from my 9-to-5 job. I have no idea what doors it might open or whatever. I think that's all uncertain. I have no idea. I can't use that as the reason why I show up every day. For me, the reason why I show up every day is because I fucking love doing this. I love the lights. I love the equipment. I love the conversations. Like, you have to love the process. And to me, that's success. If you can live every day loving what you do, that's like a life well lived. Like, I guess, like, yeah, I don't have any specific questions. I don't have any specific questions on this. Like, what comes to mind?
Yeah, I love how like it's so funny because 2 minutes before that you're like, I spent 5 minutes explaining the question.
Now I don't even have a question.
And then you just explain. No, I'm just fucking with you, dude. Yeah, no, dude, I love that. I think that like, there definitely can be like expectations that you strive for, like goals that you want to achieve, right? Whether that's in business or in climbing or something. Like obviously with the podcast, you want to make money. Obviously training for climbing, we want to climb hard, right? But I think the more that you can push your expectations out, the further that you can extend them, the higher chance that you'll have of succeeding, because the more you'll be focused on just doing the actions that will actually get you there. And then the more, exactly what you said, happy you'll be just in doing those actions, right? If you're constantly focused on the expectation, if you're constantly like, and I'll relate this to climbing really easy. Like if you're training all the time for whatever, let's just say 513 or 514 is your goal, whatever it is, right? Then you're like, oh, I have to get there. I have to climb especially if you're like climbing all the time, like I was for that year. You put so much stress and undue effort into this like thing that you're trying to achieve that you don't enjoy any of the process. And then when it doesn't go your way, you want to quit because you're like, this is bullshit. And then you're in that dip and you're like, this is bullshit. This is like way harder than I thought it was going to be.
And I don't like spending time doing it.
Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, exactly. So I'm not there. And like with the podcast, for example, if you were like so fixated, on the goal of like, I need to make money, I need to make $100,000 a year in this podcast, or it's bullshit, it's a failure, it's not going to go anywhere, then like you'd be like looking at the metrics and you'd be like, this fucking sucks, I want to quit, right? But the further that you can push those expectations out and be like, yeah, whatever, if I get to 513, that's awesome, man. That would be a great job. But I love climbing, so I'm just gonna like keep training and keep climbing, and like whatever happens is fine. And I think you'll have a lot happier life if you can. Obviously, it's, a lot easier said than done. Sometimes it's frustrating when we put so much effort into something and we miss the mark or it doesn't get there. And that can be frustrating. But I think, and this is a good lesson for myself as well, like the more that you can just align yourself with like the present day-to-day actions and enjoy yourself in the moment, the happier you'll be, and just push those expectations out and, obviously work towards them, but have an enjoyment and peace in the day-to-day that is going to get you there in the long run.
I think your element of time is interesting. And I also think level of ambiguity with what the expectation is important. I think it's funny. I think it might be contradictory to certain things, because like you come into the world of like manifestation or like projecting thoughts or expecting the future, and a lot of them are like, be concrete about your goal. Like,
Yeah.
pick a number. You know, like I want $100,000 in my bank account by the time I'm 35.
Yeah, dude, it's stupid.
I don't agree.
Do
I
that.
don't agree with that. Like,
Yeah.
I think the more specific with you are about your expectations of yourself, of a project, the more you're setting yourself up for failure, and the more you're closing doors to other opportunities that might be sitting there. And if you're so hyper focused on this one specific outcome, you might miss 17 other ones that might even be better than the expectation that you fucking thought you were trying to chase in the first place. So like, be fluid, be ambiguous with like, have a goal, but have it be kind of like, I want to be up here somewhere, like whatever that is, like, and then just be ready to jump on opportunities when you see something that might push you forward a little bit more.
That's so funny because like every year I make New Year's plans like 2025, 2024, 2023, and predominantly they've always been like number based, right? So it's like I want to make X amount of dollars, right? And I want to climb X grade, and I want to climb this amount of this X grade. I want to do 5 alpine routes. I want to do X amount of this, whatever it is, right? And then every year, like sometimes I hit some of them, sometimes I miss other ones, but they're all like metric based. It's all just like numbers, which is like, it's good to have analytics, don't get me wrong, like that can be a valuable resource in your life. But then it's always like, if you look back on the year and you just think about it, you're like, man, I had a great fucking year. But then if you look back on your like numbers, you're like, oh, fuck, I missed the mark on all these. So it's funny that you brought that up, because literally this year I was like making my 2026 goals, and I was like, what do I want to do? And I was like looking at 2025 and 2024, and they're all just like number based. And like, I'm looking back and I'm like, well, I didn't hit that one. I didn't hit that one. I hit this one. I hit this one. I didn't hit that one. I looked back, I was like, oh, wow. Looking at these numbers, I actually did a really shitty job in the last 5 years. But look at my life. I'm like, man, my life is going great. Like everything's going really good. So actually the only goal that I put for 2026 was to be at peace with myself in the day to day. That was the number one goal. With that was the only goal I wrote on 2026, be at peace with myself during the day to day. I don't know if that's the exact verbiage, but like that's the consensus or the census. Cool. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah. Peace is so valuable. Internal peace, household peace. Like, man, like it's undervalued, I think. Yeah. Well, awesome, dude. I appreciate you sitting down, man. This has been awesome. Man. I'm glad we like pushed everything out and like it lined up like this. This is definitely better.
Yeah, it's way better than doing it like after. I did a big day of climbing, and then we did a big day of climbing together. We're both just like bagged.
Yeah, you were just like on the ground laying down last night. I was like, you want to do a podcast, Phil?
Yeah, no, this was awesome, dude. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for having me on again, dude. We'll have to get to, so I guess I got to get to 5 to beat Bryce.
You do.
And this is 3 or this is 4?
I think this is, so you did Patreon exclusive. We did the one with Matt.
Shoot, this is only 3.
I think this is 3.
Shoot, I got to get 2 more. Okay. Well, I got it. So
when I go up to Canada,
you know what I need to do? I actually need to go do some cool things. So I actually have cool stories to share.
You need to change your goals for 26 a little bit. If you want to get back on the pod.
You can't just be a piece and be on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, dude, I appreciate it. As always, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, man.
For people who don't know who you are and want to follow your story, where can people
go? The best place would be Instagram. So I think it's the Real Canadian Boys with a Z, Real Canadian Boys. Or if you just look Canadian, or if you just look at my name, Philip Setter with 1 L, PHILIP Setter. Yeah, that'd be the best place.
Sweet, dude. Appreciate you.
Thank you.